Greetings and salutations. Welcome to the very first episode of the Chibi Chitchat Podcast. For those catching up for the first time, we're members of a Discord/YouTube community otherwise known as Golden Goose Productions. You know, we've been talking about this for a while, but potentially doing an anime podcast because we have a pretty distinct range of ages and interests. So without further ado, why don't we introduce the members of the podcast? Firstly, hello, my name is Jpeg. I work on this little thing called Adventure Dispatch. I'll talk more about that later, but first off, let's talk to Mr. WG Brosuke. Hello there, how are you today?
What's going on, homies? What's up? I'm WG Brosuke. I'm 27. When it comes to anime, right? My first one, well, I actually sat down and watched, was Higurashi no Nakakoro ni. It's based off a visual novel, very horror based, and it was very out there in terms of most people first. Like people would say Naruto or One Piece or like Fruit Basket. I'm like Higurashi. And the reason why, if you guys recognize the character in the logo, I have Joe Yabuki from Ashita no Joe. And the reason why, because I just think his design is really... He recently became my favorite main character in any series. So yeah, that's about me.
All right, the second person I want to introduce is a friend named Gon. So hello, Gon. How are you?
Hi. Okay, I think I'm going based on that. Yeah, my name is Gon, like based on the Hunter x Hunter character, and I am 19 years old, kind of the exact opposite of Brosuke's age, from oldest to youngest. With my experience with anime, I started ever since, like, realistically middle school. That's when the brain rot started happening, and my first anime, if you can base it on my username, Hunter x Hunter. It was the first kind of... I saw it on Toonami when Adult Swim was running, and I usually like sitting down watching. I kind of saw episodes kind of statically, but eventually when I started actually getting into anime, it was the first one I actually decided to watch from front to back. Still waiting for the manga to catch up, but that's literally a pipe dream. And for me, the character in the logo that I'm dressed up as is Sanji from One Piece, because Sanji's my all-time favorite anime character. He's my man. I love him to bits, and I think that's...
All right, very nice. I've yet to see One Piece, to be honest. Next up, we have the third co-host I'd like to introduce is a good friend of the channel. It is Quinnie. Hello, welcome.
Hello, nice to meet you all. I'm Quinnie. I'm 20 years old. So basically, I got into anime when I was around probably like 14, maybe 13, something like that. I first discovered Tokyo Ghoul when it was like that was my first anime on a channel, I think it was Vice or something, or maybe even on Netflix, and I was just really curious because I hadn't seen much anime and my friends were always talking about it, so I just kind of watched it, and then that's when I realized I was really into anime. So yeah, getting to talk about anime with other people is really, really cool. Like, I've made lots of friends from it. And also, my character is Spike from Cowboy Bebop. He is literally awesome. He is my favorite protagonist of all time. I only recently decided he's my favorite, but because I've been like binging it, I love it. It's such a good show. He's probably the best protagonist with the best story. But yeah, that's about it for me.
Bang. No, that's great. I love that. Fourth in line, we have Robin here. Hello, Robin. Welcome to the show.
Hello there. Hi, everyone. I'm Robin. I'm 23 years old. And I guess my first experience with anime was when I was like 11 years old. And I was just scrolling through Netflix, wanting to find something to watch. And I found the old 2000s version of Fruits Basket. And like, as a kid, I'm like, oh, cartoon. This is for kids. It's for me. And it was not quite for kids. But either way, I loved it so much. I was like completely obsessed. And I was like so sad to find out there was only like one season of the show for the longest time. And then it wasn't until like a year or two later when I discovered the manga and got to like finish the story throughout. But yeah, Fruits Basket, it was my first anime, specifically the old version from the 2000s. It was so good. Nothing else had made me laugh or cry like that show did. And the character in the logo that I am is Nico Robin from One Piece, specifically from the Thriller Bark arc, just because I love her outfit and I love Nico Robin. Even though that's not who I'm named after, I just like the name Robin.
Oh, from DC Comics, right?
Yes, I do like Robin from DC Comics as well.
All right, so I guess I'll go last. I'm the fifth and final host of this podcast. My name is Jpeg, as I said. I am 23 years old, And it's interesting because unlike these people, I've only really started watching anime when I turned like 22. So I'm like very fresh to it. I'm still like learning all the memes and tropes and inside jokes and all that stuff. But at this point, I've watched like close to 80 shows in the last like year and a half. With that in mind, the first anime I saw, that's kind of hard to narrow down, but I think it was Danganronpa, the anime, unfortunately, which is not a very good show. It's a good game, it's not a good show. This was back in the day when people didn't realize that you should probably advertise it as a visual novel and not a game and not an anime. So I mistakenly watched it, thought it was kind of meh, and I never thought about it again for maybe like 8 years. Now we've played it on this channel. We played the games. Anyway, the character I am in the logo is Mr. Psyche K. That was the second anime I was ever recommended. A close friend of mine was like, "Hey, you kind of remind me of Psyche, so go watch it." And I watched it, and I was like, "Whoa, the show is so funny. It's so subversive. It's great." But yeah, I wouldn't say I'm really like Psyche. I'm like really weird. He's not weird. But yeah, thank you all. That's all 5 of us. We can all talk now. Hello. Hello.
Yeah.
Oh my god, hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh my god.
Now what?
Now what?
Now what?
Okay.
So, our goal with this podcast is just to talk about shows. Maybe we'll do like rank downs, have discussions, maybe update you guys with news, and maybe we'll watch shows and I'll discuss it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens, right?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Because there's so much stuff going in the anime world, like all the time. New series, new stuff.
Oh yeah. We can never run out of things to talk about.
Yeah, no, we completely.
Exactly.
Yeah. I do like the amount of like diversity we have. We have such a wide range of like ages and genders and like identities and all that stuff, cultural identities. I think that's great,
Yeah. No, literally, we're quite literally each of across the world.
We're here to talk about anime. We're here to shit on each other's opinions, probably. No, not really.
Probably.
Okay.
Not really.
Yeah. We held the truce for the introductions, but now the gloves are off. We can be as mean as each other as we want.
Okay.
Fuck
No
One
holding
Piece.
back now.
I'm so tired of 2 One Piece characters on this logo. I'm joking. Anyway.
You take that back, Brosuke.
Here's what I'm going to do. I am going to get a random name generator, and we will start ranking our top 5 animes, as you can tell by the title. So whoever goes up first will get to talk first, and then who goes second, etc., etc. How about that? Does that
sounds good. Before you do
Yeah.
that, before you do that, what I'm really interested in this podcast is that I feel like all 5 of us typically have like different values and what we want from an anime when it comes from the story, the characters. Like some of us here like more traditional stuff, some of us here like subversive, some of us here just like, what, I just want to have comedy, right? I just want to be funny, stuff like that. So I feel like this anime podcast will hopefully, bring all those things together and come, and just talk about what we like. So, all right, now we can move on to the top 5.
I'm excited. We all have such different stories. But there we go. I randomized the order. You can tell it's randomized because I'm first. I didn't want to go first.
I
didn't rig it. So here's the format. So we will all say our 5s first, and then our 4s, then our 3s, then our 2s, then our 1s. And after we explain why it's in our top 5, we can all commentate and give our own opinions and whatnot. Maybe share like, oh, I really like that. Oh, that's really weird. Oh, that suits you. Or whatever, right?
No, that anime sucks. Nah.
Okay. So
Top 5 gone? Really gone?
Brosuke, why don't you do like those top 5 things? Number 5.
Number 5, Burger King foot leg. Anyway, number 5.
4.
So I guess I'll go first here. My number 5 show out of the 80 I've seen, and again, I've only started watching for a year and a half, so maybe this is a really what's the word? Baka. Baka.
I hate you. Don't ever use that again. Please don't.
What's the word for like a fake weeb? What's it called? Like otaku? What's it called? I don't know what it's called.
A weeaboo.
I don't know.
Continue on.
I didn't know the word for that.
There's a term where it's like fake. I think it's baka. I don't know.
Fake weeb. I'm looking it up right now. Continue.
So my number 5 show, it's a really cute show that I'm building it up because I haven't like sent any of these guys the top 5 yet, even though you can very easily find it on a Google Doc. It's a show that when I watched it really captivated me. It's on Netflix. I think it was just the friendship dynamic of the group and just the animation. It also made me really hungry. I think that also contributed to why I liked it. It's this little show called Delicious in Dungeon, and I know that it came out not too long ago. I don't know. Maybe it's because I watched it really early. I think it is literally show number like 28 that I saw out of 80. So it was pretty early on, but just something about it really was like, this is a friend group. You know, they bicker a lot, they argue, but they get along. And the show is mostly episodic. They make like a few meals every episode, and it's like, this is cute. I don't know. This is cute. They got a goal. They want to save someone.
It's literally
what about you guys? What say you?
No,
Kind of.
No, because that's an anime that I've been needing to watch. I think so many people have recommended me Dungeon Meshi that it's literally like, I know it's good. I know for sure that like it's literally brings the personification of like how anime food literally makes everything look like 10 times more delicious.
Oh yeah.
Like, I've seen Dungeon Meshi food, and it's like, if I watch that show, I actively have to be eating something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
As someone who actually lives in like Asia, it's like, oh, this is beautiful. I don't really like, Japanese food that much, but it makes me crave Japanese food.
Yeah.
No, and they're so creative, I think, about the way they made the foods and like how they obtained the ingredients about it in like this fantasy-esque setting. It's really cool. I just love the world building of it.
Do not personally think the show is for everyone. Like, I don't think Brosuke will enjoy it that much, but
Yeah, I'll be frank with you guys. I have no idea what this anime. I'm googling it right now.
Right now.
It's pretty popular.
Of a show that you recommended me at one point, Brosuke, Catcher in Sins, and I know that's a bit of a weird comparison, where like the first half is kind of episodic, but the second half is like, that's when the plot kicks in. That's when like it starts becoming like an arc, I guess. So that's interesting.
Okay, I see this. 2024. That makes sense, actually.
Who's your favorite character in Dungeon Meshi?
God, I'm gonna sound like our friend Genesis here. But it's the girl named Marcel, the blonde elf. She's cool. She is voiced in the English dub by the person who plays Nami in the live action One Piece.
Yeah. Yes, Emily Rudd. Let's go.
Yeah, she's great.
I loved her so much. She's so great.
That's her first voice acting role as well. Fun fact.
This looks cute.
Yeah, the dub is so good. The dub was so good. That's how I experienced it as well.
I don't really like fantasy that much. So for a fantasy show to do this well, it in my opinion, it's really good for what it is. Because I don't really like fantasy.
Because it really does feel like just like it feels like D&D.
No, it's I believe that it's like D&D, except like the characters, they want to eat the monsters in the dungeon, basically. Like, that's the premise of the show.
That's
like,
great. It's so fun.
Kill, they want to eat.
Yeah, no, that's what I don't know. I think that's a little nuanced presence to it. Like,
yeah,
that's true.
Really, anything's edible.
Yeah, you can do a whole D&D campaign similar to this. I think. I think they really like D&D. That's why they did it.
Speaking of number fives, Robin, what is your number 5?
Oh, okay. So I'll go next. My number 5 is this one anime called Kimi ni Todoke, or From Me to You. So this is like a school romance shoujo that I saw way back when I was in middle school. It's about this girl who just wants to make friends and have a good life in her high school, but she's kind of very socially awkward, and people are like scared of her appearance because she looks like the girl from The Ring, kind of. And she's actually nicknamed Sadako by her classmates, even though her actual name is Sawako. And it's because that she's kind of like ostracized by her classmates that she idolizes the most popular guy in her class, and how he's able to like befriend everyone and get along with their classmates really well. And she like admires him a lot and wants to be just like him. So yeah, it's a very classic high school romance shoujo. There isn't really a big gimmick to it, other than the fact that her classmates think she looks like the girl from The Ring. That doesn't really last too long. It's just really about the main girl and her growth and how we see her friendships and relationships develop and herself develop, as well as the side characters as well. The side characters are so great. They get a lot of exploration in the story as well.
It sounds like a cute coming of age story.
Yeah, it is. And it's basically, like this was basically my first Skip and Loafer. Like I remember Gon recommended me Skip and Loafer, right? And like I watched it. When I watched Skip and Loafer, I got very similar vibes to this show. It just reminded me of Kimi ni Todoke and why I loved that show as well. Skip and Loafer is also great as well.
Yeah, because I was going to mention, and my honorable mention was Skip and Loafer as well, because I think definitely I've been recommended the show a decent bit by one of my other friends, but it's like it does really remind me of Skip and Loafer, just kind of based on the friendships and relationships. I think personally that's one thing I really do look for in anime is the relationships between characters and kind of character growth is really important to me, and especially just in more of a typical like grounded setting in like a high school. I think that's definitely like it gets more real.
Yeah, like I know there's this discussion where like, oh my god, the high school setting is very overrated or very overused, but like that is probably true. Honestly, we're in 2025, but the thing about the reason why the high school setting really works, especially in Japanese culture, is that that's when typically like when you do a lot of growing, that's when you do a lot of like relatable stuff, and you just relate to these people like, oh my god, you're shy, and you get through this shyness, and most people are typically shy in high school because they're just trying to get through life, usually by like university or anything like that. People have usually gotten over some of the hurdles of adolescence, and I think that's something that we all can relate to, especially
non-golden time.
There are some animes out there that don't do that, like School Days. But
that's in my bottom 5.
We need to do a bottom 5 episode one day.
We should. But no, I think the school settings overall is good. But I do feel like hopefully Japan explores the university setting more, or just a town setting for slice of lives or romance stories. And that's kind of, when it comes to romance for me, it's typically not one of my favorites.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's bad.
No.
I like the action cool shit, right? But I'll elaborate that later on my top 5s.
Yeah, and that's fair. People like what they like, right? And if you know what you like, that's great. I will say with this show, it's probably not going to be everyone's cup of tea because it's so very obvious with the main couple that they like each other. And it's very obvious to like all their friends around them. And it can be very slow to see how they get together. And it has a lot of tropes I think nowadays people would be very annoyed with, like the miscommunication and the misunderstandings. But to be honest, I think it fit really well with this show in particular, and it was very in character for the main girl because she hasn't been able to make friends for quite a while, and she is very socially awkward.
Yeah,
and like
it definitely just sounds like a product of. It definitely does sound like a product of its time, like since back then.
For sure.
It's crazy that they actually made Netflix announced the third season of the show to be released 13 years after the second season ended. So it was just last year that they released the most recent season. And I
also noticed a live action of it too.
Yes. Oh my god, I devolved right back into a 13-year-old girl when I first saw the trailer. It was so good.
Aww. Good.
But speaking of the
wait, how many of you have seen that show? How many of you have seen that show? I haven't, so I can't say anything.
I'll be frank with you. I haven't heard of it until now.
No, but to be fair, that's kind of the point of this pod. It's a lot of our top 5s don't I think there's a couple of intersecting lines at some point, but realistically, all of our tastes are wildly different. So realistically, I don't think most of us would have seen most of each other's top 5s unless we were heavily recommending this.
Yeah.
I think this next one for my number 5 is actually this is going to be one of the only ones that really intersects, because I put number 5 as Cowboy Bebop. Number 5, Cowboy Bebop. I think Quinnie could also join in because I also saw your list.
Hell yeah.
My number 6.
No, yeah, me and Quinnie's list definitely have intersected with at least Cowboy Bebop, and how Cowboy Bebop's great. It's I think most people know what Cowboy Bebop is at some point. It's 24 episode series, just kind of based on following around a man named Spike Spiegel, and kind of just him and his crew kind of adventures through space.
What I really like about Bebop is that the plot is very subtle. It's sprinkled in every single episode. So obviously I think episode 11 or 12 was really heavy plot because he goes to the church for the first I don't remember, but he meets Vicious again for the first time. You finally see him.
Yeah.
There's that halfway point where it's super plot heavy, and then it goes back to the subtlety, right? And then it's not only just the subtleties of Spike. You see subtleties of Jet, you see subtleties of Faye, you see subtleties of Edward. You see what these guys have in common is that learning to let go. This the past, right? People are gonna let go. Yeah. People are not. You know, and that's what like literally in the ending theme, like if you translate it, one of the lines is "It's too late to let you go." It's literally because Spike's like, all right, I don't give a fuck. It's too late. I'm just gonna. He doesn't let go, and that's what's cool about Cowboy Bebop. It's very subtle, and I feel like if you're someone who like doesn't pay attention to things or like you lose focus a lot of the time, I can see someone not getting the whole message of Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, this is one of those shows where, like, I wouldn't even mind doing, like, a rewatch episode for the podcast of the show. This is, like, one of the few that'd be down for that.
Yeah. No, I wholeheartedly agree with that point, Brosuke. I think there was one episode where I think it was, like, a refrigerator all the way down in the basement that they didn't look at. Like, it was, like, a virus or something. And
It was like moldy food.
Yeah, I remember that episode.
Yeah, and it was, like, it remembered that somebody had to explain it to me how that kind of represented like having Spike's kind of like past that he doesn't want to acknowledge,
Yes,
and kind of stuff that he's done that he doesn't want to acknowledge, and he has to live with that because most people live with regrets. Most people have done stuff that they do not like what their past has done, and they don't want to acknowledge it. And it's like the whole episode is kind of more like hijinks and like being happy. But if you really do look into it, it's so much more deeper than what meets the eye. And I think that's a lot.
Yeah, it's a very depressing plot. It's very depressing.
What I like is that, you know, I watched this when I was 22. I'm 23 now, and even though that's not really that big of a difference, I feel like the more you age, the more you get out of it. Like as you age and get older and grow as a person, you look back and you're like, wow, there's a lot more than what's on the surface, right? And I think that's great. You know, as a 23-year-old, I look, wow, I did not notice that subtext when I was 22. It's crazy.
Yeah, no. I saw this just last year for the first time. Like, I don't know if I would have enjoyed it if I watched it when I was 11. But like, yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
I highly recommend if you haven't seen it for some reason.
My second comment is that Quinnie, it's also on your list. So
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I love Cowboy Bebop. Like, I agree with both of like all of your points. Like you've just mentioned, like when I watched that refrigerator episode, I think when I actually watched Cowboy Bebop actually on the same channel I found Tokyo Ghoul on when I was 14, and none of that made sense to me. I was interested and fascinated, but like I didn't tune into it properly. I watched it again like in my 20s, and I'm there like properly, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I did not even like pay attention to that when I was younger, but I can really immerse myself into it now, and the characters are just so fascinating to like see the different perspectives of how they are and like how they view life and things like that. Edward's like so funny. I love Edward's screen time.
Mystery.
I think Edward's still my favorite, actually.
That's valid.
Yeah.
I'm a Faye fanboy.
Valid.
Same.
Fucking
I love
badass.
my fate.
One more comment that I would make is that what I like about this show is that I feel like it's more natural of like friend groups where it's like, you know, maybe on the surface they're like reluctant and disgruntled and all that stuff. But I actually like that more than like people are like, oh, we're best friends. We're totally best friends, right? We're the besties, right? I like that way more.
Yeah, same. I'm the same. I agree with
That
that.
like reluctant, unspoken love that you have for friends and family,
Yeah.
right? It's great.
Speaking of Tokyo
That's awesome.
Ghoul, Quinnie, I know it's on your 5. Why is it 5?
Hell yeah. So Tokyo Ghoul is on my 5 because again it was my first and it was like a really fun one to watch from the beginning because like the first 2 seasons for me, like I really enjoyed it because the plot was like pretty decent at this point and gotten further down by then. But the characters were all like really stuck out to me because they all had like really cool, like not only designs that kept me really interested, but also the plots were like very like fascinating to me. Like Kaneki really evolved in series 1 to series 2 really quickly, like from being really scared to then kicking ass. It was like really cool. And then, you know, like Toka also was really evolving. She was a bit like closed off with Kaneki at first, and then she really was trying to figure out more about Kaneki, and like they're trying to connect over time, I suppose. But like, yeah, I really just loved like how cool like the whole horror genre for it. It really got me into it.
No, because I know Tokyo Ghoul has been like one of the horror genre animes of all time. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, kind of wherever you go, you kind of always see like at least the main character of Tokyo Ghoul. I think his design is one of the most iconic ones in at least the horror genre of anime. To be honest.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because like I was gonna say, like when it comes to like horror anime back in the day, right? It was Tokyo Ghoul, Higurashi was known a little bit, stuff like that. Like horror anime back then.
Yeah.
Like if you were like horror scary between like 2005 to 2012, you were iconic.
Hell yeah.
It's
Like another.
much.
Yeah.
It's definitely evolved. It's definitely one of the genres that I've seen like evolve so much.
Banger opening.
Some of the older stuff too is like Perfect Blue. I still like anime has kind of reached me, especially with horror. Like I think it truly can reach me and actually like scare me with some of the stuff it's actually made.
My one comment for Tokyo Ghoul is that like it's one of those shows that's like better than the manga, I guess.
Yeah, I agree.
For me personally, I've always been a bigger fan of like the anime original adaptations, just because you have to put everything. There's no context missing. You have to get everything you want. Like Bebop, for example, that one's anime original, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Tokyo Ghoul, I think it had to put like 60 chapters in like 12 episodes or something like that. So.
Yeah, basically. So like they had so many plots in many different so both in the first 2 seasons of like Tokyo Ghoul, then Route A, and then RE. There was like so many plots, they just couldn't fit them in. So I completely get that, because like towards RE, I kind of lost interest, even though I watched it all, because that was the anime I started with. I wanted to finish it. I really found the plots were a bit harder to kind of sit through towards RE, because there's so many like just chucked into one, like Kaneki having Heisei now part of him, the other ghoul investigators, their small plots, like it was really hard to keep up. So I can understand why some people wouldn't be a fan of that, so I get it.
And the last one for number 5, it's Brosuke.
Yeah, number 5.
All right. So this might come off as a pretty obvious pick for a lot of people. I think everyone and their mother even knows the name of this series. But my number 5 is definitely the original Dragon Ball. If anyone doesn't know what Dragon Ball is, then no biggie. You know, it's there, definitely there on YouTube. But what I really liked about original Dragon Ball, and I feel like when most people think about Dragon Ball now, they think about Super Saiyan, they think about going final form, or all these cool laser battles or whatever. Like, and it's cool, right? From an action standpoint, it's very cool. But what really made original Dragon Ball special was what I really liked about Goku as a character is that when you followed Goku, you weren't following Goku to learn more about Goku. When Goku went somewhere, it was always developing the world and the people around him. People grew attached to Goku because they were interested in learning about the world. Like when Goku met Yamcha for the first time, it was a magical scene because before then, Goku never lost a fight. Then Yamcha just kicked his ass. You're like, oh shit, right? And then you learn about the Dragon Balls. You learn about the mystery of Shenron, and then you learn about King Piccolo, who took over the world 100 years ago. You learn that Roshi did all this. It's like, holy crap! It's like an adventure. And then you see Goku grow. Like he actually, you see him become taller. You see him become stronger. It's a hero's journey. It is actually based on the Chinese story, Journey to the West, too, which is very heavily inspired Dragon Ball. And you see it, and obviously Dragon Ball is just like what it is now. And thanks to Dragon Ball, you have a lot of series because of it, right? That really inspired, like Naruto, One Piece, Bleach, like all these other shonens that came after it will literally tell you, like, yeah, I want to do this because of Dragon Ball, right? Mm-hmm. So I love fucking original Dragon Ball because it was more about adventure. The character stories felt intertwined. It wasn't just, I'm gonna go Super Saiyan and scream, stuff like that. So that's why I love Dragon Ball number 5.
I have one comment for you. Who can stop this constipated jock with the awful animation and the complicated plots?
What?
Oh, I get you.
Wait a minute.
You get the joke, Quinnie?
I got it.
What? Oh my god.
Okay, I didn't know Quinnie. I didn't know Quinnie watched that. That's cool.
Epic rap has a history.
Okay. No, Brosuke. No, to be fair though, it's like, I get what you're trying to say. It's literally the start of it all. To be fair, Dragon Ball has become like one of the most iconic anime of all time, causing the span of multiple other animes that have become as like just big to this day. Like, loving the start of it all is like, no, I get it. Like, you truly get to see where everything had started off as. Like, there's so many iconic characters in Dragon Ball to this day that are completely different characters since the start of the series. Like,
Yamcha.
Yamcha.
The thing is I haven't like Z is good for different reasons, right? But what I like about Dragon Ball is that everyone felt like Tien's whole story is that like he wanted revenge. He was manipulated by his old master, and then he realized it was wrong. And then when he bowed his head and said, "I'm sorry," and he broke Yamcha's leg, not because he had to, but because he fucking just felt like it. He just wanted to send a message. And he bows his head and says, "I am sorry." And Yamcha just fucking fist bumps his chest saying, "Hey man, next when he heals, I want a rematch in the ring." It's like, oh, like that magical scenes like that. And obviously, like I like that show a lot more. It's more traditional. It's more bro-y, you know. But I love original Dragon Ball. It just holds a magical place in my heart.
It's literally, it's the start of Dragon Ball. Like, I think everyone knows. I think literally almost everyone knows Dragon Ball.
I think,
not gonna fall
again, as a newcomer to the scene, and I say newcomer, but it's been a year and a half at this point. I now that like I'm doing this challenge where I watch like one anime per year since I was born, right? And I think what amazes me is that Dragon Ball is so much older than like everything else. Like I think it's like 70s or 80s. Is that right?
It came out in like 1985, I think. I'll double check. I'll fact check for you real quick.
Like, you know, I mean, there's very few animes from like the 70s or 80s. Yeah. There's like very few that still have that like place in the cultural canon of anime, I guess. And it just amazes me just like how much older it is and how relevant it still is to this day, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the fans are still alive and kicking. They still have so much love for this show. Yeah.
I mean, alive, yes. Kicking, I don't know. I mean, they're getting old.
No, there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people who grew up with this show. I know, and they still love it now. And yeah, a lot of people are, even younger people, I think, are liking it a lot now as well.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
it's definitely something that's also just evolving. Like, rest in peace, Akira Toriyama. We will always appreciate your existence, but it's just like. It's just alive, and I truly start of anime, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Jpeg, do you want to do like a snake order for number 4?
Yeah, we can do snake order. Let's do snake.
Yeah, so like I'll go first, and it goes backwards, and then you're
sure.
Okay.
Ooh.
All right. So this is a very, very huge jump from like the adventure. We have. I always laugh when I think about it because.
Oh my god.
This is I think when it comes to comedy anime, I feel like when it comes to what comes into people's heads is either Lucky Star, Psyche K. Like Psyche K is pretty fucking popular. You know, all these other comedy animes. You don't really think of this one, Daily Lives of High School Boys. There's only 12 episodes. There's no dub. And what really makes me like it a lot is that, one, it's my humor, right? I feel like it's a very extensive reason. But I think what really, really separates this to me from the other comedy animes, it's that it just... It's literally what the title says. Is you're literally just following the lives of high school boys, and they're just being dumb in their antics. And I feel like I don't know about you, JPEG or God, but we've definitely had dumb moments in high school where we're just like, I'm gonna ride this bike, and then just be dumb, you know. And that's what the whole premise of Daily Lives of High School Boys. And what's really cool is that there's not a lot of like perverted jokes, and there's like one or two moments where there was. And they made it very realistic, where they actually felt bad, like, oh, we shouldn't do this. Because one of the problems with anime, especially when it comes to like male characters, is that there's always that one male character that's just, when you think of them, is just a pervert. And that's what, you know, like Psyche K has one of those characters, right? Not hitting on Psyche K, but Psyche does have one of those characters.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, they do.
Daily Lives of High School Boys doesn't have that. It's just mundane. Yeah, that's the perfect word to describe Daily Lives of High School Boys. It's funny while remaining mundane, and I like it.
Yeah, for context, for any viewers, he actually did a 3-session, or was it 3 or 2, whatever, a few session watch party with several members of the group. And if you want to join us for a watch parties, please join us in the description. We're on Discord. And I think, like, the takeaway is that I think everyone enjoyed it. You know, maybe some people were a little tired at the end of the Brosuke humor, because, like, they do repeat a few jokes. Not jokes, but, like, a joke structure a bit too often, if you know what I'm talking about, Brosuke.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
We did this in 1984. This school wasn't established until 1989. Like, that kind of joke, like, a little too much. But other than that, I do think that it was something that was very enjoyable. You're right, it is mundane. It's like, there's not a lot of plot, and that's what makes it really good. And most comedies don't really have plots anyway, but I think this one in particular was so mundane that it makes it funny.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I like about it.
But not like the Lucky Star where there's literally no plot. Like, there was some setup, right, for character.
Yeah, it's like one of those shows that you really can just turn your brain off and just kind of like just watch.
Like, one of the funniest jokes of the series is that Tadakuni, who is like described as like the main character, I posted a gif of the 3 trio, right? It's the black hair. That's Tadakuni. He appears for like 3 episodes, and then from episode 4 to 11, he probably has like 1 appearance, and in every episode they have a setup joke, or they talk about something really stupid, and they're playing volleyball. Like, they're spiking the volleyball, and Tadakuni's like, hey, I haven't been in the anime recently. And then they just go, maybe that's because you're boring and plain. That's why we don't follow you. I really hope I get in the anime sometime. And he doesn't appear at all in that episode. But I feel there's not a lot to talk about with number 4. It's comedy, it's mundane, it's relatable. Watch it. It's only 12 episodes. Please watch it. Please watch it. But anyway,
Curious, asking for the non high school boys in the audience. What do you two think as not being boys?
About Daily Life. Well, I didn't. Yeah. I didn't attend the watch party, so I actually haven't seen it.
I did for a bit. I thought it was fucking hilarious. Like, it really cracked me up. And when Tadakuni, like, just barely appeared for, like, the rest of the series, I remember, like, me, Brosuke, and a few others were just, like, funny. We were, like, betting if he was going to come back or not. I remember that. That was quite funny.
Yeah, there was literally a poll made by Amaru. Will Tadakuni be in the final episode?
Yeah, I remember that.
Gosh.
One last thing about this. This is a joke that Robin and God would appreciate. In episode 3, he's actually reading a manga, and it says like One Piece or something like that. It's a One Piece reference.
Yeah.
And the final episode is like a montage of what they're doing after graduation. Then Tadakuni wakes up. He's still in the same position, and he's still reading One Piece.
I mean, it takes a while to read.
But I think One Piece is for later.
Brosuke,
we'll get to that.
What's up?
We'll get to that one day.
Woohoo, it's mine. So, my number 4 was Nanbaka. So, Nanbaka is actually one of the only comedies I've seen that actually kind of had a plot, but the plot kind of decided in the second season to go a bit pear-shaped because, like, they were trying to do, like Tokyo Ghoul, tried doing too many. But what I love about Nanbaka was that one of my real-life best friends actually recommended it to me. It's a comedy set in a prison, and these, like, different prisoners in a cell, basically at different ages. They're all a group of friends, and they're basically constantly trying to escape. These different, like, security guards in there, and it's just really entertaining. It's full of bright colors. Like, if you're cool with bright colors and sparkles and basically goofy as fuck humor, it's definitely a good anime I'd recommend until, like, again, the second season when the tournament was on it too much. Other than that, I absolutely adored Nanbaka. Like, Jugo, the character with the protagonist with the black and red hair, he is honestly so entertaining because he has his moments where he'd be, like, really serious and, like, having, like, some depression kind of moments. He's struggling a lot with his past, but he also kind of, like, has these moments where he just has complete comedic, like, moments with his friends, and they actually bring a lot of joy to his life, so it's quite sweet. Like they have some sweet moments, but it's mainly just full of comedy, full of like humor. Only problem, too many characters, too many plots, but I recommend it regardless. It's honestly peak comedy. I appreciate my friend for showing it to me.
What's really notable about like comedies, I don't know if anyone else, like if your favorite comedy has this, but like almost every single comedy, they always have like at least one deep moment. Like in Lucky Star, they literally have an episode of like Kanata's dad and her dealing with her mom's like passing. And that was like really sad.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, damn, I want to laugh, not cry. Like,
I completely get that.
It definitely adds a level of serialism, like seriousness to the show. That it's just like it's nice to see. It's nice to see that it's just like not all sunshines and rainbows. Because I've seen so many clips of Nanbaka. It just looks so funny. Just like different, especially with the colors. I think definitely the biggest thing, like Quinnie mentioned, is the colors for Nanbaka. It's bright, it's colorful. Each character is distinct, and I think truly I will have to give it up for the character designs. Like I think you truly can just recognize each of the characters based on just the colors they're wearing. Especially the hair colors. I know anime is definitely known for having like wildly different hair colors for their characters, even though it's like usually the blacks, browns, blondes. When it comes to just anime hair colors, I think that's truly something that like makes the character design so much more distinctive. And I think that truly does show in Nanbaka, with especially the main four.
Absolutely agreed on that. Like the four protagonists, not only their designs look so unique and different from each other, but also their personalities. So they bond beautifully together. But they're so different. It's actually quite funny because like Hugo, like until he's with his friends, he can be quite lonely. He's like a very typical lonely teenager. He kind of wants to be left alone, basically. Very angsty. Nico is like really silly, has lots of energy. I think I'm trying to remember Uno is like the flirty one. He would be considered the pervy character, but he has moments when he knows to chill out. Like, so it's really cool to see how different they are.
I wouldn't even consider him being pervy. He's very flirty.
Yeah, absolutely.
The pervy character in the show is the one female character, in my opinion.
Oh yes, okay. But even though, I love that one side gag with her. She's so good. And like I only watched the first season, and I think Hajime and like the security guards are like some of my favorite characters. I just love
so valid.
Hajime and like what was that one guy? Oh god, Yamato.
Oh, Yamato, I love him. He's so silly.
He's so silly. I love them so much.
My one complaint about this show is that as you're watching it, this is like the only show, maybe on the list of 80, where the season finale doesn't feel like a season finale. It's just like, oh, I wonder what happens next episode. Oh, that was it. There's no more episodes.
Anime does that.
Anime does a lot.
I feel like for the most part, season finales, at least they feel like a finale. Like this one was just, oh, now we're gonna do it next episode, and then there's no next episode.
I don't know. I think animes have a tendency to always kind of like make you wait for that season 2.
Most of the ones I've seen definitely end kind of very, a lot like this one did, I will say.
Yeah. God. Like the plot, like just waiting at the end, I was like so hyped because I was like, I got really into it to my friend, and I was like, oh, can't wait to see them take him down finally. And I was like, wait, what? You're telling me this is it?
Yeah, go ahead. We'll get into Chainsaw Man another time.
Another day.
But yeah, no. Who's up next? Gone, you're up next.
Oh, it's me. Okay, it's me. I just started realizing that I have a lot of intersections with a lot of people. But we're still on the topic of comedies. I think this is my favorite comedy of all time. Kaguya-sama Love is War. I think it's basically about two high schoolers they're basically the student council president and student council vice president who very clearly have like romantic feelings for each other, but would rather die than to confess their feelings to the other one. It's if you really take the two smartest people in the room and you basically make them duke it out in the most mundane of things, just so it doesn't seem like, oh, this is a sign that they like me or something like that, or something like, oh my god, they did this one kind gesture. It's really, the more and more you get to see these two characters develop, and especially their relationship, I think it's such a nuanced take on romance, because I think it's definitely more real when it comes to like, you don't want to confess to your crush. It doesn't like, you don't. It's definitely a slow burn, but it's like I think the comedy really does make up for a lot of like I wouldn't say miscommunication. It's more so just like, it's just hijinks ensues. Because I know, Robin, you had it on your list as well.
Yes, this is also on my list. I think this is one of the few comedies that balances like the drama and like the serious character development moments really well with the comedy and the gags. I love how very real these characters are, like Kaguya and the president Miyuki. So they both have a lot of pride essentially, and neither of them want to lose, quote unquote, by confessing first. And so like, it's so, which is like, I think a very real thing that a lot of people have. People have a lot of pride, right? And like, it can be very scary to like confess to someone else. But it's also so funny how they're like using like psychological tactics to like get the other to like confess to one another. That's basically a lot of where the gags come from. And it's funny because like, it's really funny how like the side characters are kind of like mostly oblivious to the whole thing. Like they're all playing checkers, and then these two are like playing like 3D chess or whatever.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's like, especially with our two main characters, it's like they both come from such wildly different backgrounds, but they both come to the same consensus on why they don't want to confess, or like why they act this certain way. And it's like, it definitely, like you said, they're playing 3D chess while everyone else is kind of just onlookers. Like I think one of the most iconic characters in the show is Chika. Like I think even if you haven't seen Kaguya-sama, I think you've seen the Chika dance before. I think that's one of the most pink-haired girl, like purple hair.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
Fujisaki.
Fujisaki.
Oh, Fujiwara. Sorry, Fujiwara.
Fujiwara.
Yeah. I literally brain fart on that name. But anyways, the Fujiwara dance. I think that's the most iconic thing from the show, and I think she genuinely has brought she's so oblivious to the whole thing that she's just like, it's like she's such an unknown variable that you don't know what's going to happen, that really kind of like emphasizes the side characters. There's so many side characters that really kind of change up the main characters' plans, that really flesh out the side characters. Like if I remember his name, black-haired guy, Ishigami. He's, even though he was revealed later, and he's like one of the most realist characters on the show. Like like you really take kind of like how the characters really blows things out of proportion, and then there's Ichigami that really kind of like adds a layer of groundness to the main four. That I think it's like the main four of Ishigami and Fujiwara and Kaguya, and like all four of them really do bounce off each other so well, and I think that's one of the series' strong points.
Yeah, for sure. Every single side character like gets a lot of focus on their own as well, and like it's great.
Yeah, Love is like the one show that I felt like I treated too harshly when I first watched it. I got off watching maybe like 3 or 4 like super quirky humor show, and so when I saw this one, I was like, oh, not another one. And then I looked back and I was like, you know what, this is pretty good. Perhaps I was too harsh on you.
Perhaps I treated you too harshly. Also, the openings are so good. The openings absolutely slap.
Yeah. Gosh.
No, oh my god, the openings are amazing, especially just jazz. I love it. I love jazzy openings so much. Oh, well, Robin, it's really your turn. So what's your number 4?
Okay, so my number 4 is actually Haikyuu, the volleyball anime.
Yeah,
So
I know that
this.
is.
Yeah, so I watched this during the pandemic. I was hooked from the start. I think it's a very simple plot. It's just about a team. It's like most team sports anime. It's just about a high school boys volleyball team, and they're just doing their best to improve their skills and go to nationals. But of course, it is the characters that are the biggest pull of the show. I just love large casts in general, and like I love seeing like the dynamics between the characters and how they each develop their own skills and their relationships with each other. All of them are super engaging, super interesting. Each of them are given proper focus and development and can really stand on their own. Yeah, my favorite characters. I think my favorites are probably Nishinoya or Kuro Tetsuro.
Okay.
But yeah, I think a very easy recommendation.
I think one of like the best things about sports anime is that I really feel like, especially when you play the sports. Did you play volleyball, Robin?
I did not.
Oh, okay. No worries. But I feel like when you played a sport, right? I feel like almost everyone has an experience where they've tried a sport at least once, right? Like I was baseball. Yeah. I think sports anime is like, in my opinion, one of the types of anime that you can really experiment with. I think, we'll get to that later when I get to my.
This, my friends, is what we call foreshadowing.
We will get.
But I think it's on my list. I want to watch some more sports animes. Like I've watched Prince of Tennis. Really good. That was a really cool one.
I've been meaning to watch that one as well.
I want to watch. I watched some of Free, but not a lot of it. I want to get back to it, but if it's a sports anime, I'm gonna watch it. It's on my watch list. I want to watch it so bad.
Yeah, with Haikyuu, I don't play volleyball, but from what I hear, it is very accurate to actual volleyball, and like it's very well animated. The anime is like really great. I love the volleyball scenes in the show and the volleyball matches. They're some of like my favorite moments in the show. The manga is really great as well. I thought I would have like, after I caught up with the series, I did read the manga. That's true for like every single anime on my top 5 are those like after I finished them, I read the manga for all of them. Yes, I read the manga. Yes, Jpeg, I am literate. But yes, I think I do prefer the anime just because I think I can immerse I think I find it more immersive. But the manga is also very easy to follow. And I was really happy about that. It's very well drawn.
Yeah. No, because, okay, my comments about Haikyuu were that as a person that's done a sport, especially in high school, like, even though it wasn't volleyball, there's so much, like, effort and, like, energy, or, like, a lot more, like, feelings you put into a sport the more time you spend on it, especially if you love that sport. Like, I did color guard in high school. There's so many days of practice, like, after school, during the day, like, hours of my life, like, literal days of my life were spent to that sport. And it's especially during competitions, like, that I truly, when I was watching Haikyuu, you really do feel the energy, especially not just from the audience, but you especially from the players on the court, that you truly know how much this truly does mean to these people that spend, like, even though they don't really realistically would show like how much time they actually spend on like practicing, you see how much like this sport truly does mean to them and how much they want to win. It's something beautiful that I always love in sports animes that are just like, you truly do see how much like these characters do really want this, how much they want and they feel like they deserve to win.
Yeah, you see their commitment and it's like, and their drive and their passion. It's great.
Yeah. And there's so many characters that are here for different reasons. Like, I think my favorite character is Kenma, who is wildly different from the main character. And I think, especially in the recent movie, was really showed off how much he's learned to appreciate the sport. And even though he hasn't done sports, like, I related to that a lot. I never did a sport until high school. And, like, really having to put so much effort into it, but then learning how to love something as much as this and seeing like how the people around you really like care about it. It pumps you up, and it's such a fun thing that I feel like almost a lot of people need to experience once in their life.
But yeah, very easy, safe recommendation. I would say Haikyuu, very easy to get into for boys, girls, or even non-anime fans.
Yeah,
give it a watch if you haven't.
What's your number 3, JPEG?
Number 4 still.
Sorry, I was sussing you.
Yeah, no, it's a good segue. So my number 4, out of my top 5, this one is, I wouldn't say it's unpopular, but the other four are more mainstream, but this one is something that a friend of mine kind of suggested off the cuff, not really expecting anything out of it, and it ended up being like, my fourth favorite anime of all time out of the 80 I've seen. It's a little show called Buddy Daddies, and I know the title is a little sus, but it's not. It's this show where these two like hitman type characters, they are tasked with taking care of what seems to be like a little orphan girl. And it's really interesting because that's such a weird dichotomy where the show can be kind of violent with explosions and death and murder, but also you have like the really wholesome stuff of like taking care of a little girl, right? And I think that's probably a little surprising to some people that know me because, like, I don't know, maybe I don't seem like the so cute kind of type, but the show really is the balance of like cute and also like badass, I guess. I don't know. I just like that contrast of like these badass characters having to take care of like buying clothes, putting a girl in school, having to cook meals for her, stuff like that. It's really cute. I don't know. It's I don't even know if it's popular or not because I wasn't there when it was airing for the first time. But
I think it had a decent fan base when it was airing. But yeah, it's like fan fiction in the best possible way. You know what I mean? Like seeing like these badass characters who are like hitmen, and then just seeing them do like mundane stuff, like just buying clothes and taking their kid to school. It's really cute and wholesome, and I do see the appeal.
I watched the show and I was just like, I think a lot of comparisons were like, oh, Spy X Family but gay, because I know that's like the majority consensus when this show started like first appearing, and like to be fair, I kind of thought it too. Like this show definitely has a lot of underlining tones that like they literally end up living together at like towards the end of the show. So it's like, I think it was kind of there, but I don't think they wanted to say it.
Yeah, I think it's gay coded without like because the character, spoilers, but the two male leads, they don't like kiss or hug or anything like that. It's very gay coded.
It's very gay. That's what I was trying to say. It was like it feels very queer, but they just don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
And
agree.
towing the line, like they could do it. Like it wouldn't take much to cross that line. Like you sneeze and then boom, you've fallen over.
Yeah, like again, this is another one that's anime original, and I think because of that, I feel like it's very tightly written. I feel like there's pretty much no filler. There's a lot of shows where I'm like, you could have cut this out, or this doesn't have any payoff in the end. But this one, by virtue of being anime original and also only 12 episodes, I do think it's one of the tightest written shows, weirdly enough, out of the 80 I've seen. I feel like there's like no filler, I guess. There's no weird like, oh, this doesn't lead anywhere. And I think that's just impressive because I feel like some 12 episode shows have a lot of like weird moments that just don't pay off, or they feel a bit like this is undercooked,
Yeah.
Which I would say is the big difference between this and Spy Family, because Spy Family is still ongoing, right? It's 40 episodes and it's still going to go on for much longer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even with the comparisons to Spy Family, I think the show is very much its own thing. I think it's very distinct from Spy Family more than people like to make, even though people like to make the comparison, and like I can see why it's obviously there. But like I think there are very strong distinctions with each of these shows in terms of like the tone. I think Spy Family is definitely more action packed and like more gag like, and Buddy Daddies I think is a much more slice of life-y, I feel. At least that's the vibe I got from watching it.
Yeah.
What do you?
I agree.
What do you think?
It's more serialized. I'll say that. Like there is a direction the plot goes in, whereas Spy Family it like meanders sometimes. Like there's some episodes where it's kind of fillery, kind of like episodic. Right.
Yeah.
This one has a direction from the get go.
Yeah.
Very true.
Short and sweet. Very short and sweet.
Definitely has a plot.
Yeah.
And it commits.
Yeah.
That's all I really can ask for a one season anime. Like a plot that really does commit.
Yeah, no, hot take. They need to do more one season, like 12 episode things where it's like the plot is very tight, It's very standalone and tight.
I stand by that. I agree.
Yeah. Being able to like watch something like in one day, in one night sitting even. It's like
Oh yeah.
knowing you, Jpeg.
We're not going to address the elephant in the room. We're not going to address that.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Brosuke and I are going to get in trouble if we address it.
Oh no. We can't reveal that yet. Episode 5 maybe.
Much a loser. anyway,
if you want to know what we're talking about, wait till episode 5 and we'll tell you.
we'll talk about it in the next. We'll talk about it when this pod reaches episode like 10.
Yeah, okay, if we can get to like over 1,000 views, then we'll reveal it. I'm just kidding.
Like, based on context, they'll know what it is. They already know.
We'll tell you guys every single inside joke ever.
Yeah. So yeah, that leads me to number 3. My number 3 choice. All this talk about Spy Family. My number 3 is Spy Family.
Crazy.
And
Yeah.
it's pretty much the same thing. The concept is that you have a spy father, a assassin mother, and a psychic child, and they don't like. Well, okay, no, the mother and the father, they don't really know each other's secrets, but the child, because she's a psychic, she knows both of it. And it's a really funny dichotomy because, you know, the family loves each other, but they're trying to keep it all together. And, you know, again, it's episodic, so it's just, I would say it's comedy, but it's, like, extremely wholesome. It's still going, and I hope it goes on for, like, 2 or 3 more seasons. That'd be so much fun. And yeah, no, I like the aesthetic. It's, like, you know, old-timey, war-torn Europe. But also has a lot of Japanese influence. I don't know. It's just, to be completely fair, there's some nostalgia because this is the 3rd anime I've seen on my list. Out of,
And Spy X Family is also like one of those things where, like, if you just show someone a picture, we're like, oh, I know what that is. Well, I've seen that somewhere before.
oh yeah, no. I think even Brosuke knows some of the characters.
So fun fact, no, I didn't know who the little pink character, Anya, is that her name? I didn't know. I legit didn't know. So how I knew I recognized her physically. The only reason why is because there was a JoJo meme with her involved, and I thought she was some original character made for that meme because JoJo fans go that far.
JoJo fans, if you're watching, you think JoJo will be in any of our top 5s? Stay tuned to see. But yeah, no, I mean, it's very totally similar to Buddy Daddy, so not a lot for me to talk about here. It had a movie recently, which was pretty good.
The movie.
This was like. This anime was one of those things that just had a big cultural impact. You know, I live in the Philippines. It just had such a big impact. Like that,
Yeah.
not a lot of things do here. It's weird how big of an impact it had. Like only off the top of my head, only Chainsaw Man even came close. Like people still wear like in my college, they still wear like Spy Family like merch and stuff. It's weird, but it's good.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Like I agree. It's just like I understand the hype. It's a grade A series.
Yeah, I think personally, I love it when like you have a psychic character who knows stuff, right? You know, like the dramatic irony of like the psychic character knows stuff, but the characters don't know that they're psychic. You know, wink, wink. It's really fun.
Is this more foreshadowing?
Maybe
foreshadowing to the number 1.
Ooh.
I wonder what his number 1 is, you guys.
But
Oh, it's a toughie.
no, just my number 3 and 4 are basically like the same show, except one's gay, and they're still family shows. Yeah. Great. So yeah, Robin, what about you? Number 3.
Yeah, okay, so we went over this before, so I guess I won't talk for too long. But yeah, my number 3 is Kaguya, Love is War. I talked about it earlier with Gone. So I don't really have too much else to say. It's great. I read the manga after I caught up with season 3. It's so good. And it finished not too long ago. The ending was amazing. I loved it. And yeah, I don't know what more to say here. So
if you want to know more, go back to Gon's number 4. Time
yeah, go back. Go rewind. Rewatch this whole thing again.
I know this is one of Shea Frillis Productions' favorite anime, and that's what turned me off for a while because I've, you know, I don't hate Shea Frillis. I don't hate Shea Frillis, but by watching, I like that. So yeah.
What's your number 3?
You should keep watching. I think Jpeg's only seen like the first season. It gets much better in the later seasons as well.
Yeah. All right, Gone. Number 3 then.
Oh, okay. Okay, my number 3 is Dr. Stone. I think this is definitely the least mainstream out of my top 3. Even though Dr. Stone, yeah, is relatively still popular. It's getting a new season right now. It's literally airing. I've recommended Dr. Stone to so many people because I absolutely love this series. It's about the world kind of has ended. Like we kind of start off like in modern day, how you would just picture modern day, and a giant green like light kind of makes everyone turn into stone, and eventually we kind of just to like kind of prehistoric age, basically pretty much, and we see the main character Senku break out, and what the main thing about Senku is that he's basically a super genius, and we basically kind of follow his journey with a couple of his friends, like two of his friends, and we kind of see him try to rebuild society. And through his knowledge of science, like you truly have to start from everything from scratch. Obviously, he does get help from like he has to start like talking to people that are basically born in this prehistoric age and don't know anything about modern day. So you have to he has to literally teach them how to do things, how to actually start from scratch to start making like modern day technology. And like one of the like literally the most wild thing, if you really start from nothing, he made a gun. Like
Yeah.
I think truly that's one of the funnier things that I could really say. He's actually made like I think the biggest thing you probably could say like besides making a gun, I think the biggest thing is actually making like a motor vehicle or like actual like cuisine from like kind of like and actual like generators and actually like making electricity and actually making like a telephone through quite literally like prehistoric time tools. And I think it really taught me a lot when it comes to science and how like things are actually created, because you quite literally have to start from scratch and actually see like this and this, like how much work it truly does and how much effort you actually have to put in to actually get something out of it. I think that's really cool.
Dr. Stone.
Hell yeah.
I know I've been recommending this to practically like literally anyone I talk to. So I need you guys to watch it because it's.
I know. I will get to it at some point. I swear I will.
When did it come out?
I will watch
2019?
it.
Yeah, I think 2019, and it's still going on to this day. It has multiple seasons, and we just get more introduced to characters from modern ages, from prehistoric ages, like and seeing how these characters interact. And it's a lot of character focus as well. Like, to be honest, like spending this amount of time with people and actually making something, like the character interactions are something that truly does drive the series home for me.
Quinnie, you said you've seen it?
I have not seen it, but I want to watch it, so I shall see it.
Forcing all four of you guys to watch Dr. Stone, because I know like each of you guys would actually find something you guys would enjoy in Dr. Stone.
Is there a psychic in it?
Basically a super genius, so he basically is kind of psychic. He knows modern technology. He pretty much, you'll love the main character, Jpeg. I know you will. I know you like.
He's the Yagami type.
Yeah, he's not like psychotic, but he's just like, well, he's a little psychotic.
We're all a little psychotic sometimes.
Yeah, pretty much. He's just like, just think of Senku is just kind of like broccoli hair, lettuce hair, main character that kind of just like, you would expect of a super genius. And like being able to like know things that a lot of people, like literally everyone in the area does not know about. There's truly something I think for everyone here. And I think I think everyone could at least learn a little something from Dr. Stone. So yeah, that's why it's my number 3.
Ooh, very nice.
Ooh.
All right. Quinnie, you're up next.
Okay, so my number 3, I know is probably like quite a few people I think here like this, is gotta be The Disastrous Life of Psyche K. Is by far the funniest thing I've honestly seen when it comes to comedy animes. I just love how relatable and funny Psyche is. He honestly reminds me of my best friend, because my best friend is very sarcastic. Like, I wouldn't say he's like a psychic, because he's not, but he is very like Psyche. So watching it like was just really cool, because it's kind of like, well, it feels like I'm looking at him really, but yeah, it's just really cool. Like the character interactions just crack me up every episode, because you just never know what to expect. It gets better and better as the episodes go on. So yeah, I recommend this.
Oh gosh, yeah, no, I mean, this anime is my number 2 as well. I kept on recommending it to Brosuke, and now we have this little bit on Twitter where my profile pic is Psyche and his is Nendo, and then I'll say some like smart ass shit. Then I'll respond with like, something really dumb. What was the funny one, Brosuke?
Hey, buddy.
Just comment my stuff. Hey, buddy.
Yeah, one of my favorite jokes about NewsieNikei is that Nindo takes the whole squad out to the ramen shop, and it looks really beat down. And I think it was, I don't know which one, I can't remember their names for the life of me, but one of them goes, Nindo, where'd you find this? Oh, it's no worries, buddy. My ex-dog walker's ex-girlfriend, ex-dogs don't know me about this. And it's just like, what? Wait, no, it was my ex-dog walker's ex-cousin told me about this place.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Oh my gosh.
So, out of curiosity, who's your favorite character from Psyche?
Nando.
Other than Psyche, if it is Psyche.
Oh, mine, to be honest, is actually Kaido. He's really, really funny. Like, he's actually so stupid. Like, Psyche and Nendo probably are my other favorites besides, because, again, the three of them bounce off each other, like, really, really well. But Kaido has to be my favorite because he's just really airheaded to the point. I feel sorry for Psyche every episode.
The Dark Overlords!
Who do we want to fight? The three Psyche boys or the three Daily Lives boys?
Oh, man. The thing is, the three Daily Lives boys, is really only two of them, so Psyche K.
Yeah, I have to agree with that.
I mean, I feel like Psyche would just like walk away. He wouldn't want to be part of it. So that's basically 2v2.
Yeah.
Oh god, I love the little jingle that happens every time Kaido appears, you know?
Yes.
Gosh.
I love the jingles of Psyche K. Saki Kusu! Oh!
I like how his dad's job is licking shoes. That's great.
Yeah.
So with me, Psyche, it's my number 2, so I'll talk about it a bit here. This was like the second anime I've ever seen. Basically, the first recommended. A close friend of mine was like, "Hey, you know, he thinks he's Jpeg thinks he's a Byakuya Togami from Danganronpa, and that's like close enough to Psyche." So she recommended it to me, and it ended up being like my second favorite ever. And I don't know. I think like this is what really sold me on anime, because even though I didn't really know the tropes yet, it is so willing to subvert everything, right? Like the guy who thinks he's like the superhero, the chosen one in Kaito, right? And he's just nothing. You have the jock character who like he's always like showing his ass crack to people because he keeps on, right? You have like this super OP guy, but he can't read the dumbass in Nendo because Nendo has no thoughts. So it's like, I think in an early episode, it explains why like the world is weird, why like people have colored hair, why people's clothes fall off, is because Psyche, made it so that happened. That's how OP he is, right? It's just so funny having this super OP character, and it's just everyone is out there to piss him off. It's so funny. It reminds me of me in high school, honestly. I'm like, yeah, this is accurate.
I made this joke before. It's like Psyche is like a harem, essentially. It's like with an asexual protagonist.
Look,
absolutely.
I don't want to say I don't want to be like, oh, literally me, but Psyche is the only character I've ever been. Yeah, literally me.
Yeah,
in him.
That kind of drives the point we said earlier. I think when we were talking about school animes, like they're so grounded and so real that they're such a good setting. I think it's such an underrated setting, or like that high school really does bring out like the best in characters, because like you truly get to see them grow as people and kind of see like kind of the realist versions of them.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, I mean, no spoilers.
Well, Psyche is literally a psychic, so I'm not like.
Yeah, no, I love this show. It's one of those shows where a lot of people who saw it maybe a few years ago, even like recently, they're like, I rewatched it. This is like way better than I thought. Holy shit! I forgot how good this is.
Yeah, I should rewatch it sometime. I'm sure it'll probably go up.
No, yeah, it's great.
Absolutely. Like when I watched it, I first watched it when I was like 15, 16, watched it again when I was 18, 19. I was like, hell yeah, it's still just as peak as I thought before. Like,
is that old?
Yeah,
it's like 2016, I think. 2016.
Yeah, it's 2016.
Okay.
Yeah, it kind of flew under the radar, I feel, because I don't think anyone talked about it in 2016.
I feel like Psyche K was one of those animes that like really grew because of the pandemic, so people were at home like, all right, let's just binge watch anime. Hey, this pink hair guy. Oh wait, this is kind of funny.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
Netflix helped a lot. Yeah, Netflix helped a lot.
yeah.
True.
But yeah, no, pink-haired psychics. That's I like them.
All right. All right. Am I allowed spoilers here? Like, do I talk about spoilers?
I mean, if you want, but then you'll ruin it for the four of us.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. So
Be vague.
Okay, I won't. Okay. So Ashita no Joe is my number 3 pick. Now, this is the most recent addition. So originally my top 5, one of them was going to be Devil as a part-timer. That's an honorable mention, but I'll talk about that at a later date when we talk about isekai animes. Ashita no Joe is a 1968 manga boxing anime. And this anime released in the 1970s. Like, I'm gonna post a GIF for you guys so you can see like just how old this thing looks, right? This is a very old anime, and it really did help a lot of mangas and anime back in like become a thing. Like, for example, they do this thing in Ashita no Joe where they hit each other at the same time. That's called a cross counter. But if you look at like literally every anime afterwards, they do it all the time, and it's always in the same pose as Joe and his rival Rishiki. And like Goku and Vegeta do it. Speaking of the rival trope, I feel like this is the one that really kicked off that kind of storytelling where the main character is driven by a rival. Like, you have Naruto and Sasuke, you have Goku and Vegeta, you have Ippo and Miyata, you have, I don't know, Yugi and Kaiba. You know, there's a lot of rivals. Storytelling is based off of this, I feel like. Ashita no Joe, just to give you a little brief explanation of it, is this guy named Joe Yabuki. He is a orphan who ran away from the orphanage because he got tired of being at one place, so he kind of just wandered the streets of Tokyo, found the slums. An old guy is like, oh my god, you're really good at punching, you should be a boxer. And Joe goes, fuck you, I don't want to be a boxer, that's boring. And then Joe commits a crime, goes to prison, and then a guy beats his ass in prison, and he's like, man, the only way I'm going to beat this guy is to learn boxing. So the old man literally coaches the entire prison boxing. And it was really weird because Joe is an asshole. Like, he legit, like, he literally, like, talks down to women. He, like, talks down to old, like, his seniors. He just talks down to literally everyone in front of him because he's just so full of himself. But one of my favorite things about him is that he's just so embraced in his own, like, when I'm about sports animes, boxing becomes his life. And one of my favorite lines about him is that he's like, these fists were the reason I kept my freedom, and now I lost my freedom. And he started like breaking down in prison. It was like really cool to see this guy. Let me know, he didn't start boxing until like professionally boxing until like episode 38 or something in the original series. Like 38 episodes of this exposition about this guy. So yeah, I love sports animes, specifically when it comes to boxing, because boxing, I feel like there's a lot of tragic backstories and depressing. Yeah, that's all I gotta say about Ashita no Joe. But please, I know the age will hold people back from it, but please give it a shot. And there's a Reddit guide of watching it.
No. I mean, even from like the GIF you sent, like, it's old, but like the art and the animation still look very clean and slick.
Yeah, there's definitely like you definitely just see that like the art style really kind of pan through. I think it's the most iconic thing of the series.
We were talking about how much older Dragon Ball is compared to everything else, but this one is like 14 years older than Dragon Ball.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brosuke likes old stuff.
Gosh,
No.
this guy.
But to be fair, it's still, I don't know. I've always appreciated sports anime because you really do get to see how much the characters really want, like, just really want it. And I think it's something beautiful to see different stories and different people and different backgrounds, like how they truly want to express themselves in the way of like athletic abilities.
Side note, Brosuke, I like how your top 5 represents 5 different decades.
Yeah.
And none of them are the 2020s.
Okay. one more thing about Acxeleon Joe is that when it comes to sports animes, like what Gon said, they always want to express themselves. They always want to, I'm doing this anime, I'm doing this sport because I want to. It's my life. And honestly, that's like the last thing Joe is doing for boxing. Because there's a lot of things that he does. He boxes for other people. He boxes because he has a lot of other reasons for him. It's not about being the strongest, actually. It's all about boxing is by far the most darkest sport that we probably have, right? Well, sorry, not the darkest. It's one of the darkest because people fucking die. People get hurt. People get crippled in boxing. And that's what Acxeleon Joe is not afraid to show, is that people literally get crippled. And you see them go crazy. And so that's something about Joe that's like kind of like very brief. He does cripple fighters. And one of my favorite lines from Joe is that someone's saying, "Hey, you're always feeling down and depressed. You should just quit boxing." And he's like, "You know what? You're right. I just realized without boxing, I'm nothing." And then he states that we're in a world that we're going to destroy each other, but feeling bad about it is no excuse to quit. So I'm going to carry their flames and keep going. And that shit is like, what a fucking man.
Man. What a man.
I get like there's probably a joke out there where like, oh, there's manly. Like when it comes to like a character that really defines like a man, I feel like Joe Yabuki is that one. Anyway, progress.
Hates women, hates children, hates the elderly.
Well,
talking about your. I mean, Brosuke, you have to start your number 2.
Yeah.
Which is an iconic female character.
Number 2.
Number 2? All right. Durarara is a very unique anime in the sense that
the second half sucks.
Every single season 1 of every single character in this series has some sort of relevance. Some more than others. Some are developed more than others. But they all have some sort of relevance to where if you if they do something, you remember it. Because obviously there's one girl named Saki where, unfortunately she's just the kind of there to help someone push past their trauma. But then eventually, after that season, she gets more personality. So they fixed that. That's good. It's all about this Tokyo mystery, right? Like some guy comes to Tokyo from a small town, and then he realizes that this Tokyo place is just full of shenanigans. Like the first episode is literally a teenage girl getting kidnapped, and you see this event unfold from like 3 to 4 different perspectives in like 4 episodes. And that's what I really like about Durarara is that they have a lot of stories being told, and they're all from different perspectives. And that's what I really like about it. Every character has their likable traits. I do think the second half of season 1 focuses a bit too hard on the school trio. But after that, they kind of get their own thing, and then the trio gets involved with like the other characters. So, Durarara is very cool. Every character has a purpose. Every character has a role, and that's something I feel like not a lot of animes do. It's like, oh man, what does this character do? Oh, there's a lot of tropes where a character just does nothing. But like they do something. They're all involved somehow in this big story. Like Jpeg could talk a lot about Izaya, but I fucking love Izaya because he's such an asshole, and I fucking love him. And then you have Shizuo, who is like, he has so much strength, he doesn't know what to do with it, but he's so angry. And then you have a fucking quirky anime, like you have a quirky duo of Walker and Erica who just want to chill and vibe with anime, and then one of them is actually a pyromaniac. It's really cool and subversive. I like it.
Yeah. What it reminds me of is it kind of reminds me of I don't know what the genre is called, but like not like gangster, but like crime-based Hollywood movies like Reservoir Dogs or Pulp Fiction, where you focus on like the underbelly of the town and the different facets of like different perspectives and different cultures of what's going on. And what I like about Durarara is that like it feels like the town is its own character, where like the culture really molds the characters' philosophies, you know, because the town is so like gritty and grimy and stuff like that. You know,
Yeah.
really feels alive. Like the world feels alive.
The characters get shaped by the town, by the events of the town. Especially Mikido. Mikido is probably the biggest example because he starts out plain. Like when I remember when Robin was trying to watch it, that was like her biggest complaint about Mikido is that he's plain, he's boring, he looks boring. I don't want to listen to this guy. And then you find out he's actually a lot bigger. He's actually one of the reasons. Is actually a lot of like what happens in the show. He's actually like one of the main reasons like the passage in 2 even happens. It's actually insane. And then you have Henri, who has her own thing going on, and then Kita, who also has his own thing going on, but they're all shaped by the town and the events. You have Selkie, who is shaped by the town. She's like a blank slate, doesn't care about humans, and eventually starts to feel human herself. You have Shinra, who's a black market doctor, loves headless women.
Dude, same.
Out of context, that's so funny.
Dude is same.
Wait, Quinnie, have you seen the show?
Real.
No, I know what you're talking about.
I think people. I mean, even people who haven't seen the show probably know. They've probably seen Celtie's character design around, right?
I think Celtie's. Especially Celtie's design, especially her helmet, I think is definitely the most like. It's so clean and cut that you kind of just like. I kind of see it almost everywhere.
Yeah, Celtie is probably the poster girl. So Celtie is like when you think of Durarara, Celtie is like the first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I do appreciate that the series doesn't. I don't think they're. I've only seen like the first 12 episodes or 13 episodes, and I do like that. All the different characters. There isn't like a strong focus on like one of them in particular. I think each of them had like a good balance in the focus. At least for the first 12 episodes. I don't know if I'll continue. I will at some point, but I hear it's mostly focused on the high school trio, which was my biggest issue with the series. Not even like the trio, just like the main dude, as Brosuke said. I'm kind of over like the very generic looking anime protagonist. He looks like he could be a harem protagonist, okay? And like,
really quick, the writer, they have a very distinct style. They also made Bacano, and it's like comparing the 2 shows, it's like Durarara is a big improvement on Bacano, but like they also feel very similar. I quite like that, you know. It's like it feels like you're watching the evolution of a writer, right?
You get to see how better they are at writing.
How much they grew.
okay,
we can just.
All right, viewers, if you want to see Quinnie's thoughts on Cowboy Bebop, just rewind to the timestamp in the description. I'm joking.
Oh my god.
I feel like if any show will get a second segment, I feel Cowboy Bebop deserves it, you know.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think we could talk about a little bit of the concept of just kind of like future episodes talking about certain animes. I think there's definitely like Cowboy Bebop. I think could honestly get its own episode.
Yeah.
We should.
We can get it.
sure.
Like, I need Dr. Stone to get its own. But no, okay. But yeah.
All right, let's talk about your number 2, Gone.
My number 2. Okay. Well, my number 2 is my first anime that I really officially watched. Hunter x Hunter. I think.
We never would have guessed.
Yeah, actually, to be fair, it's not my number 1. It's not my number 1. But like, yeah, truly, I think Hunter x Hunter has honestly had such a place in my heart for literally ever since I started actually watching anime. Like, it truly, I think a lot of people know what Hunter x Hunter is, but if you don't know, it's basically just this main character going on an adventure to become a hunter and ultimately finding his father. And there's so much stuff that kind of just happens throughout. So many just different areas he goes to, so many different places to just find clues. Like it truly is just a hero's journey, just to try to find something that he ultimately has no idea if it's really out there or not. And especially, I think for most people, I think the most iconic thing is definitely the first arc. It's like the Hunter exam arc. I think a lot of people like kind of just like hard exams characters have to go through, like kind of tournament-esque. And especially when we meet the other main characters, like the main core four have honestly, I think, solidified themselves into the anime community, especially Killua. You can't go like 1 minute scrolling through an anime TikTok section when you literally just see like a Killua PFP or like a Kurapika PFP. Like I think even though the power system is very complicated when it starts talking about it, I think it truly just ultimately is like, oh, this character has a special ability. It just falls into this category. And like they truly do make the power system and like how like the characters fight so interesting to me that like once you see characters kind of fight in kind of unconventional ways, that it truly it's just really cool to see without diving into too many spoilers.
Yeah, no, the power system is really cool in Hunter x Hunter, and like, yes, it is convoluted and a little complicated, but like, if you look into it a little more, I just had to like listen to it like a second time before I really like grasped it and understood it a bit more.
Yeah.
No, I think it's like very well thought out, and like I wouldn't say like I think other like power systems, like the power system in like Jujutsu Kaisen, for example, is like so convoluted and like I don't understand it. And like when I tell people, that's like one of my main criticisms of like that show. They say, "Oh yeah, that's the point. You don't get that. You don't get the power system." But like that's not the case with Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get it. No, because I agree. It's literally like the whole concept of Nen and having to fall into like several different categories. Like I understand the power system is very difficult to understand, but it's just kind of like this character just has this ability. That's pretty much what it is. It's not like it just happens to fall into this certain category. And not just about the power scaling, like literally the characters. Like I love Gon so much, and I think he's one of the most realistic like child protagonists that we've ever had in anime. Like I understand. I think a lot of criticism when it comes to like children as MCs, because yeah, like I agree, kids are annoying. kids are annoying.
Goddamn kids.
Goddamn kids.
And you definitely see like how Gon kind of handles situations, like Gon and Killua kind of handle their situations very differently because of their upbringings. But you kind of, it's like at the end of the day, you realize that these two are just kids, and like a lot of their decisions that even though I know like are criticisms against the anime, like I find it really realistic. I think it was towards the end. It was just Gon's like kind of final decision to do like something that would ultimately off him. But was realistic in that scenario, like for a kid to go through that and feel that way, especially connect after losing somebody so close to him. That's one thing that, especially when I was younger, I really did connect with a lot. That it was like Gon's just a kid just like me. Oh my god, he's going on this big grand adventure. Like oh yeah, his decisions are realistic. Me in the past and me now, I understand why Gon made those decisions and why Killua would make his decisions. Like
yeah, they're 12, by the way. Like
yeah.
Like come on, of course they're gonna.
There are like two things that I really love about Hunter x Hunter. The first one is that it really does feel like genre roulette at times. Like you start off, it's like the training things, then it's like the battle arena, and then you got like the political thriller, then you got like the isekai, and then you got the horror one. It's like what the heck? It's like it keeps on jumping back and forth between like what I assume is like 90s or 2000s genres. And that's so fun that it keeps on bouncing back and forth. The second thing is that I think the show has like mastered the art of the anti-climax, because like every arc ends in the most anticlimactic way possible, and it's great. I don't know how to describe it. Usually that would like piss people off, right? They'll like set up a fight or a storyline or like this epic conclusion for like many episodes, and then they don't do it. It's like what the heck? What is this?
My number
you know
one,
what I mean, right?
My number one does that. I'll get into that.
Like,
That's really great.
Every time you're like, no, they're not gonna anticlimactically end this again, and they always do it.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of things that Hunter x Hunter, like it definitely does have flaws. I'm not gonna cap when it comes to Hunter. Like I think, especially with the Phantom Troop, like I thought Phantom Themes for a second, but yeah, but besides that, the Phantom Troop, I know those were widely popular characters that didn't like they show up quite frequently, to be fair. But it's just like I know like how anticlimactic it must have been to kind of like, especially Kurapika's plotline. Like it's still one of the ones, if the creator does pick up the pen again and actually continue like actively writing again, that I feel like Karapika would become the MC. It's such a weird way to continue the series, in my opinion, but like it just feels right.
If you want some news, last week the Hunter x Hunter license actually got renewed, so people are saying that the anime might actually continue in 2025 or 2026.
Oh, okay. That's very exciting to hear.
That's super cool.
Because I know that in the manga, like Gon and Killua take a bit of are kind of sidelined, and we focus a lot more on like characters like the Phantom Troop, for example, and Karapika a lot more. So that's something to look forward to.
Yeah. No, I'm so excited. To be fair, I think the anime ended perfectly. Not perfect. Well, not perfectly, but like I think it ended in like a spot where like even though like the manga is still continuing, like I think the anime where it ended off, I think it was really just kind of like the end of Gon's character. Realistically, he kind of got what he wanted in the end, and I'm like,
for real. I think it ended. I think it did end in a very good place, and it wasn't too open ended, but it felt very complete.
Yeah,
because it felt very much a good wrap up of like Gon's arc.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Stopped after Greed Island. I don't know what happens.
Oh, okay. Like, can we?
You should pick it back up. You should pick it back up.
This show is something.
Arc. Oh my god.
No, I have not. This show is something that I would say like Brosuke would enjoy it if he can look past like the fact that the mains are basically kids. I think he would really like it.
I mean, old Dragon Ball is one of your fucking top fives. So Goku was a kid.
I mean, do you think you'll like the '90s adaptation of it?
I think he might. I think to be fair, there's the '90s adaptation. I watched the 2011 version. I think it was 2011, but yeah, like the newer version, which I would say, Brosuke probably would like the 1990s one more, just because you're an oldie, Brosuke. But
it's not my fault that 90s art style is better.
Yeah, that's why you'll probably like the 90s art style much better. But I do always recommend the newer one, because that one's also just old as fuck, honestly.
Oh yeah,
think about it. Like,
gosh,
that's like back.
Respect your elders.
Alright, I think it's time we should move on to Robin's number 2.
Yeah, talking about childhood favorites.
All right, so speaking of childhood favorites, my number 2, to maybe no one's surprise, is Fruits Basket, the very first anime
childhood favorite? You're so young. No, it's a 2001 version.
Yes, it's specifically it is the 2001 version of the show, not the reboot, because that was the first anime I would watch. I watched, and today I think I would recommend the reboot to anyone who asks which one they want to watch for the first time. But for me, the original adaptation and the manga holds a more special place in my heart. I will also say the tone of the original I think is very different from the reboot. It's very funny, it's heartwarming, and then also depressing. I said this before, but like I don't think any other show made me laugh but also bawl my eyes out as much as the original Fruits Basket did.
Are you cut off?
Okay, yeah, so the premise is I'll go over this quickly. So the premise is about this girl, Toru Honda. Her mom died a year ago, and she's basically all on her own. And so the first episode, the Soma family takes her in, and she quickly discovers that their family is essentially cursed. And the curse is that like 13 members of the Soma clan transform into the animals of the Chinese zodiac, and also the cat when they're hugged by people of the opposite sex, or when they're under a great deal of stress. It's an absolutely crazy premise at the time when I watched it, but it works really well. We see how this curse affects the 13 family members very differently. Each of them have their own traumas and pains associated with it, with their own families and the other clan members, and that there's like a hierarchy and all that. And then when Toru comes into this family's lives, she is like the light that like changes things. She's very nurturing and sweet, and despite that, she also has her own trauma and she has her own flaws. Like the fact that she always puts other people's needs ahead of her own, and she never like tries to be selfish. But I love her so much, as well as Yuki and Kyo, the other two main characters. They're very amazing, very well written, and there are and so many great side characters as well: Hattori, Momiji, Hatsuharu, Kagura, and Toru's friends. This show, so yeah, I don't really know what else to say. This show was like a staple in my childhood, and it's like food for the soul, the original, for me. It's like just comfort. It's like a comforting, warm blanket.
So yeah, when you recommended me this show, obviously you recommend the remake. I didn't watch season 2, so my knowledge is only on season 1. I know I have a very unpopular opinion on the main character, but anyway.
Yes, I know you do, and I know this isn't really a Brosuke kind of show, but I do appreciate the fact that you did watch the first season, just so we could talk about it.
I don't. No, I'm kidding.
Anyway, the first season, I liked. I thought the premise was also very like what the fuck is this? I thought it was gonna be. At first, I thought it was gonna be one of those like really weird animes. I'm like, oh god, and then I'm like, oh thank god, because I didn't read when I look at new animes or recs, I don't look up the synopsis. I don't look up anything. I'm like, oh, this is a title. Okay, I'll watch it. So when I first got into it, I'm like, man, this is a lot of sweetness. Like it feels like I'm on diabetes right now, and
that's accurate.
And with my humor, right, it's like I like the slapstick stuff, and that's why I like Kyo, is why I like Kagura. Like those two are fucking funny, especially Kagura. But I remember her introduction. She's such a sweet lady, and then I just see her just fucking suplex Kyo into the fucking wood floor, and I'm just like, okay, this is the best character.
Oh, yeah.
I love Kagura.
Darling, I missed you. I missed you so much.
I missed you so much. And then, but after finishing season 1, like I said, my gripe with it is that it felt, at least for the first half, it started getting better at the second half. The first half felt like there was a problem. Toru gave her speech, and they're like, you know what? You're right, Toru. We fucking love you. And then they stopped doing it. I'm just like, huh? Like, obviously, the first couple times, I'm like, okay, this is sweet. And then it started, maybe it could also be me, but I think the dub voice of her is like, I think it was like very, I don't know. I just couldn't listen to her for a little bit. And I don't think her voice is bad. I'm just like, I didn't like it. I might watch season 2 and stuff, personally.
Oh my god, that's great. I love the dub. Okay, so like what I loved about the reboot is that they got so many of the original dub voice actors from the original 2000 show to voice the reboot, and I was so happy to hear that. The dub was my life. I love all the dub VAs, and like
and now they all sound older.
They did. No, I think they all. I think it holds up very well.
I listen to the comparison. They sound basically the same, yeah.
They do. It's like, I think despite like the fantasy and supernatural elements of the curse, the show is also much more grounded, slice of life, character focused, and we see these characters for the most part in season 1 just go about their normal lives, just going to school, and then we slowly just uncover like some of their like the family secrets and like their trauma a bit more.
Yeah.
And like same with season 2. I think that's like the main thing. There's not a lot of like fantasy elements or supernatural elements. It's at its core, I think it's very slice of lifey.
Yeah, I like that aspect of it. I think I gave it. Let me look. I think I gave it like a 7. I just felt like another part of season 1 that was like, it felt like a character of the day too. Like, oh, new character every episode, and then some of those characters they didn't get like anything later on. I don't know if season 2 fixes that.
But season 2 kind of fixed it for like half of them. The other half still nothing.
Okay.
Well,
but it's still season 3.
Season 3 is great.
Oh, this is it's 3 seasons.
The manga that I'm not salty about, but just
there's an amazing twist at the end of season 2 that is so like, that's a twist. It's so funny.
I think this
Jpeg
is
already
fine.
knew about the twist. The thing is, like I read, like it works better in the manga, which is how I found out about it at first. And like the original gave no obvious indications of it either.
It just seems like the slice of life anime, truly. Like, I mean, it's like one of the higher ups for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely high. I don't think it's the one. I think
It's not very slice of lifey. There's a lot going on with this with the characters. I think it is very more character focused. Right. I would say than anything.
Yeah.
All I'm gonna say is that if you're an INFP magnet like me, you'll be like, "Wow, so this is what the INFPs feel like."
Because I haven't seen the show, but I know how popular the show is. So I'm like, it's popular for a reason.
I know Brosuke's criticism. I know why Brosuke has this criticism over Toru, like she's perfect. But the thing is, what I like about her is that she also has her own trauma and her own pain. Like her mom died like a year ago, and at the start of the series, and she's still carries that with her. But she's also like trying her best to like move forward and do her best with her life. And like that's the thing that I think the Soma members really admire about Toru and see Toru. See in Toru that she also has her own struggles, but she's able to like keep smiling and still be happy. But and she still has her own flaws, like the fact that she lives in like a tent at the start of the series because after her mom died, she decided to like go live with her grandfather, right? But her grandfather said, "Okay, the house is undergoing like renovations. I'm gonna go stay with my other daughter or my son. Do you have any friends you can stay with while you go to school?" She's like, yeah." But like the thing is, she doesn't want to ask her friends, even though she could have, because she doesn't want to like impose.
As an ENTJ, that really. I understand. Sorry.
Yeah, she doesn't want to like cause problems for anyone, and she has a hard time being selfish. But I still love her. She's a great character. Go watch Fruits Basket and watch the original, honestly, if you have time.
Anyway, Jpeg, what's your number 2? Oh, that's right, Psychic K.
Well, my number 2 is Psychic K. We already talked about that.
If you want to hear Jpeg's reaction to Psychic K, go watch the timestamp. I'm joking. Okay, I'll stop.
No, so much editing. But yeah, that leaves our number 1s left. Before we do that, let's all talk about our honorable mentions. We'll go one at a time. I'll list some of my honorable mentions. How many do you guys want to do? Like 3, 4?
I think 2 is fine.
I think 2
is
because it's fine.
Okay, so my honorable mentions will be this one show that Gon actually recommended me that I really do enjoy. It's short, it's nice. I feel like this is the perfect show to show a newcomer. It's called Great Pretender. It's quite nice. And the second show I'll give my honorable mention to is a little show called Psychopaths. I don't think you guys have seen it, but it's like sci-fi and it's cool. Yeah. Robin, why don't you go up next?
Okay, so I'll give my 3 honorable mentions. I won't say much about them. So my 3 are Vinland Saga, Apothecary Diaries, and Your Name.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Gon?
I will say my honorable mention, especially for anime movies, Kiki's Delivery Service and Princess Mononoke. But for series, I mentioned this earlier. One of my honorable mentions is Skip and Loafer and Pokemon. Specifically the X and Y anime series, because I absolutely hanged on to that when I was a kid.
Yeah, why is that one so popular? I still don't understand, but I'll see it one day.
It's grade A. It's literally the best of the Pokemon series got to offer. I'm not gonna lie.
It's funny because Black and White people consider that like the worst, so like it went from the worst to the best. That's so interesting.
Yeah, no, that's literally what happened. That's quite literally what happened.
Quinnie, what about you?
So my 2 honorable mentions, joining with Pokemon, I'm gonna go Pokemon Indigo League for me, because again, like Brosuke, I love 90s art style. It's really, really cool. And that was when I first got into it when I was younger, and I still love it to this day. So yeah, Indigo League was honestly my childhood, so I absolutely love it. And I think my second, I'm gonna have to agree with Gon. I love Kiki's Delivery Service, so I won't talk about it too much, but yeah, it's really moving to me, seeing Kiki start in like a new town, like as someone who's never kind of done that journey before, especially at the age she is, just kind of figuring out what she wants to do, and then the journey she goes on with it. So yeah, I recommend those animes so hard.
Yeah.
And Brosuke, what about you?
All right. So My first one, I have. Is it 3 or 2? What do we do? I'm gonna do 3.
Yeah, do three.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
do whatever.
they all have no really order. I feel like they all interchange. The first one I already mentioned is Devil is a Part-Timer. Really cool, funny. Especially season 2. Good light novel as well. The second one, I really, really enjoy Laid Back Camp, aka Yuru Camp. Literally a camping anime. I like it. I just watched it like a month ago, so it was really cool. And then I also love JoJo. JoJo is very cool. And if people ask what part, my answer is yes.
I mean, figure out what his name is, then you'll find out what part he likes.
Yeah,
is that your favorite? Just kidding.
Part 4 is my favorite. Yeah.
Valid.
Am I the only one that hasn't seen JoJo out of the 5 of us?
I have not seen JoJo either.
Oh, okay.
Josuke!
Well, I've seen part 1, but not the other 5. But
Psyche, the only show that all of us have seen.
Psyche might be.
I have not seen Psyche, actually.
Wait, what?
Never mind.
One.
Bebop, maybe? It might be Bebop then.
Yeah, I think it's Bebop.
Oh,
I think it might be Bebop.
Understandable.
Understandable.
Well,
Yeah.
And shout outs to Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood as well.
Yeah, that one too. Yeah, I've seen that.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't seen that.
Oh my gosh.
All right, let's go ahead and move to the number 1.
The number 1. So I will take it away. So this one, sadly, I don't think any of you guys have seen it. Sadly, maybe I'll be proven wrong. This is a show, and I'm going to keep it vague so that the audience can guess. Where the main character is a god, but she doesn't realize it, and so things that she wants to happen, like the universe will bend over backwards to make the stuff she wants to happen. So if she wants like espers, they will show up out of nowhere. If she wants time travelers, they will show up. If she wants like aliens, they will show up, right? Like, but the thing is, they can't interact with her. So she controls the universe, but she doesn't even realize it. This is a show that like a friend of the channel recommended, and it's like no one could have seen this coming, just because it's something that like I guess doesn't scream me, but it secretly has everything I like. It's a show called The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. It is extremely like postmodern. Like there will be an episode, they will work on a short film for like 5 episodes, and then like the very first episode of the series is them showing that really shitty film that they made. It's like it's really blurry, there's a lot of bloopers, it's really poorly acted out. There's this episode where it's just them like doing mundane club stuff, and like there's 5 minutes where it's just a character sitting down. The show does a lot of like really subversive postmodern stuff that you think is kind of boring, but it's just really fascinating. There's an entire, I guess because the order of the show is kind of weird, there's 2 different orders. There's like a chronological order and a broadcast order, and like I guess the first part is kind of mundane, but later on, again, you realize that holy shit, there's time travelers in the show, there's aliens in the show, there's espers that can like go to different dimensions. It's like I don't know, that has always been my favorite show, and I think in my top 5, I just really like subversive stuff, things that really twist genres and all that stuff. And hands down, my favorite part is that there is an arc where they literally just repeat the same episode 8 different times. I don't know if you guys know what that is. It's called Endless 8. One of the most infamous arcs ever. It's just the same episode 8 times. It's just very slight differences. It's like, whoa, this is genius. God. You guys know anything about the show?
I never heard of the premise of the show before. Because just looking at it, I assumed, is this just a regular high school anime? Okay.
No, it is like super sci-fi, but also kind of not really.
That's really interesting. You have me intrigued.
Yeah, because I've seen this a lot. To be fair, I've seen this one a lot. I agree with Robin. I've never known the premise. I originally thought this was K-On! before I K-On! I remember I thought this was K-On! Before I knew what K-On! Really was, and I was like, I've seen this anime, so I think especially the outro. The outro.
Oh yeah, no.
The outro dance is definitely, I think, the most iconic thing for me, because I always thought this was just school. I've known that it was a little bit more than that. But it was just like, it's truly funny to hear you talk about it.
Yeah, no, it's like on the surface, like, and like, that's why I think the order is so genius, because if you watch it in release order, the first half is kind of mundane stuff, and then it's revealed, if you look back, there's foreshadowing that all this crazy shit is behind the scenes. Brosuke will know about this, but one of my favorite games are the Zero Escape games, and it's kind of like that, where like you look back and you're like, holy shit, there was so much foreshadowing of all this crazy dumb shit, crazy sci-fi shit.
Crazy.
Yeah, no, it's just it does a lot of things that are just like, wow, that's fucking weird, and I love that. I love weird stuff.
I mean, talking about weird stuff and crazy foreshadowing. I mean, Robin, do you want to do this together? I mean, we're like right next to each. We're right next to each other.
Might as well get it over with.
It's finally. I think this is the one anime that I feel like we can have a dedicated episode to. Honestly.
Oh my god! I mean, multiple episodes.
Multiple episodes. We can talk about each arc.
Honestly, we have to rank the arcs at one point.
Yeah,
make it tier
pretty
list
much. And keep the the series we were talking about is One Piece, because
Surprise!
It's real.
Surprise!
That's
It's real.
from like our OCs.
Whoa! I wonder why One Piece is our favorite anime of all time.
Are you all shocked? Did you see
Are
this
we
coming?
Yeah. Okay. But truly, I think One Piece is literally the most popular anime out right now. Honestly, in my opinion, because dude, it's just so dang long. It's so like I think majority of people don't go into it because it's like over 1,000 episodes, yada yada, like stuff like that. It's basically we see the main character Luffy and his journey to become the Pirate King. In his definition, realistically, it's more our main character kind of just wants to go on this journey and actually experience like the world instead of actually trying to reach the destination itself. Because there's so many like there's a reason why we would have to dedicate a whole episode to One Piece, because yeah, there's so much that goes into it. The world, like each island just feels like its own world, and it feels like such a different place. The characters, the top 10, like each of the Straw Hats, each have such unique and different backstories to truly like how they got here and how they're all just united under one to try to reach this goal of finding the One Piece and helping Luffy become the Pirate King. And
yeah,
I just love the character so much.
Yeah, no joke. Every single one of the Straw Hats has been my favorite character at some point or another throughout my time watching the show. They're all just so incredibly great. One Piece has everything that you probably want in a show. It has adventure, it has fantasy. Does
it have a psychic?
Yeah,
you know what?
I would think so. I would think so. Actually,
It does actually. Do you know? God, do you remember Dressrosa?
Are they pink hair?
Oh yeah, my top three are all psychics, huh?
Yeah, I wonder.
Baka.
But yeah,
my least favorite Pokemon type.
No, Wobbuffet's a psychic type.
That's true.
Okay. Anyways, but yeah, there's literally like there's so many side characters and so many main characters, and like I feel like everyone could resonate with at least one character from One Piece, because especially with the main 10, each of the 10, Luffy, Zoro, Nami, Usopp, Sanji, Chopper, Robin, Frankie, Brook, and Jinbei all have become like such mainstays in the anime community that like yeah, there's just so much to them that's been given to each one of these characters that like over the course of the entire series, if you watch like the entirety of One Piece, you really feel like you're going on this journey with this cast, because you know these people, you've seen them grow through so much.
One of the things about One Piece is that one of my friends, I think they talked to you about it, is I think when people recommend, I do recommend One Piece to people. I didn't like it when I tried reading it, but I know it's good. But I always recommend the manga because one of my friends keeps saying like a lot of the characters are like not as good as in the anime. Like Sanji is more perverted than he actually is. Stuff like that. like I'm personally, if I'm gonna recommend One Piece to people, I recommend reading it because one, you can read it on your own pace. You can read it on your pace, right? And two, it's more updated. And three, you can actually avoid the filler. So there's that.
I will say One Piece is like the only action shonen that I'm actually reading the manga for as well. I'm like keeping up week to week with the chapters, and it gets really good. But I can't get into it here because spoilers, obviously. But like, yeah, no other like action-y shonen show. I could never get into like the manga for it, like My Hero, Naruto. What are the other ones, like Bleach? I really couldn't get into the manga for it, but like with this one, it's just really, really good. And however, most of my experience with One Piece has been with the anime. I think I do understand why people might be put off by it because it is a long number of episodes. That's understandable. What I don't understand though is like when people say they're put off by the art style, because especially like the early art style, because I think it's very charming. I think it's very, very charming. It reminds me of like watching a Saturday morning cartoon. There's a lot of gags.
I'm not gonna lie. I think one of the fun things about the art style is that if oh my god, this is gonna sound so bad, especially with some inside jokes. But
okay, we can cut this if it's really that bad.
No, it's not. Well, one of the things I noticed about One Piece when I roll a Moon Day is that like when I roll one of like the female characters, I'm like, man, this looks like Nami. They like look the same.
Okay.
Okay, I think the show later on gets a lot more annoying and with the fan service, but I think early on it wasn't as bad. That's what like initially drew me to the show. I'm like, wow, this show isn't like pushing like fan service in my face like every 2 seconds.
Well, it's not even the fan service. It's that like the face. It's like the face looks like Nami. I'm like, oh, it's Nami. I have to read the character's name. I'm like, oh, that's not Nami. Like
I know I do agree that same face syndrome does plague a lot of characters, but to be honest, the more you go into One Piece, like it's the subtle differences. Like I think same face syndrome was definitely in the early of One Piece, but when you get it more, especially during time skip, I'm not gonna be defending the body types because to be fair, like literally, if you look at like especially the female characters, you like look at Nami's body and literally that's like hourglass.
Yeah, it's a thing that's been annoyed me quite a bit. But like either way, I do think the female characters of the show are like some of like the best written and amazingly well crafted females and female characters in a shonen anime of all things. Like Nami's arc, Arlong Park, is like incredibly well written, and it's actually her arc that gets a lot of people like really into the show. Like before watching it, they're like, okay, this is fun, or this might not be for me. When they reach that arc, most of the time they're like, oh, okay, this is like it's like what flips a switch for a lot of people. Because like her character arc. I'm sorry, I'm gonna like start yapping about Nami, so feel free to cut me off.
No, I was just like, I was about to disagree because like I think it truly is just Nami's arc that like it really does bring Romance Dong to like a full real conclusion. Like you truly get to see like the first 5 Straw Hats really come together as a unit and actually like see them fight off an enemy for like somebody else in the group. Like it's such a comeuppance moment that you feel like everything it really kind of embodies a lot of what One Piece really does with its arcs. Like it builds up a lot of the characters, it builds up a lot of like the locations and stuff like that, and it really builds up to like either central characters they really want to focus on, and they really just like blend everything together, and it makes such a like there's such impactful moments in the series that truly like people waited for this moment. People's like once people saw this animated or something happened in the manga, it's like, oh my god, they finally did it, or they finally like this moment finally happened. Like
I can't get into manga spoilers, but oh my gosh, that is so true. If you're all caught up, there's like things, there's so much build up and things that are being built up, and I'm like, it's so I love hearing all the theories and theorists. I didn't think I would ever be a theory head for this show, but oh my gosh, I've like gone there. It's so great to see. Like
which one's the navigator?
Nami,
the navigator of the Straw Hat Pirates is Nami.
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
She is the navigator. She's also like, she starts off as like the thief. She's a thief essentially. She's the cat burglar. That's her nickname. Like we have pirate hunter Zoro, we have black leg Sanji, and we have like cat burglar Nami.
Yeah.
Because that's what she. I don't think I'll talk too much about her arc because that does involve more spoilers. So I'll keep with that. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna one more point I was gonna make, just talking about my favorite character because it's literally the representation of me and the actual GG, and this podcast is like actual thing. Sanji, my favorite anime character of all time. Truly, of course he has his pervy moments. He's not perfect. It's definitely weird. Not gonna deny it. But at the same time, it's like when you really get when he gets serious and he's one of the most grounded and smartest characters in the entire group, and he truly does care about the things he does. If he truly cares about something, he will fight to the end for it. Even his views on women is he does. Yeah, his core central rule is that he wouldn't never hurt a woman, and I really do find it admirable that he really does just sticks to his guns and really just loves the thing he loves, and that's just kind of the representation of how I feel about a lot of One Piece characters. And I feel like, for me personally, Sanji really embodies the concept of love, truly. As to put it in short terms.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more to Sanji than meets the eye. He also has so many I think he does have a few insecurities at the start, and seeing his growth and his arcs is one of the most, or some of the most greatest moments of the show is seeing his growth. In particular, it's great. I don't want to get into it.
Yeah,
watch it.
Just watch One Piece because there's so many characters. Watch One Piece. Watch or read it. To be honest, watch or read it.
Read it. Watch it.
Do anything with it.
Oh, also there's a new they're rebooting One Piece and making a remake of the anime.
Oh yeah,
which will be better paced and it better adapted from the manga, so that's something to look forward to as well. So if you really want to get into One Piece, I'd say wait for that if you want to watch it in animated form.
But yeah,
if you have that much time to spare, then go for it.
Yeah, just we love One Piece. One Piece is great. I think that's truly what I'm gonna end it off.
Gosh.
All right, Quinnie.
Okay.
But yeah,
What's your number one?
Second to last.
Okay, so my number one anime is actually a Studio Ghibli movie. It's called Only Yesterday. So I discovered Only Yesterday, I think, just
yesterday.
So I discovered Only Yesterday, just after COVID, really. So kind of when I was just first starting college, and it was a really touching movie to me, and I still love it to this day. I rewatch it a lot. So watching it for it's crazy. When I first watched it, when I was I think I was 17, something like that. And I'm watching it again now. It was quite it was really awakening to me, how much growth and reflection is really important to life. And I found it really resonated with me because seeing Taiko look on her past and stuff throughout her life, from when she was a child, seeing imagining if she could do things differently, but then in the end she ended up realizing how much she wanted to kind of live in the present now and just really be around the people she's around and finding her people, and almost just I'm trying to think of the words to say this. It's finding her people, finding out what she wants in the end. Because I think she was really wandering, reflecting for a while, and that's why she wanted to go to the countryside, doing the one thing she couldn't do as a child. She missed out on certain things that other people had, but she now took it upon herself, in her future life, going, well, I didn't do this when I was younger, so why don't I do it now? And seeing this again, now in my 20s, where I feel I'm kind of going through similar. I see a lot of myself in Taiko, and it was just I actually cried a couple times watching it because it just felt really real. It was really good music. No, in a good way. Don't worry. Yeah, it was a great film.
No,
Oh god, Quinnie, I'm so happy you brought up Only Yesterday because it's one of those Ghibli films that isn't as like well known as the others. It's not like your Spirited Away. It's not your Totoro or Howl's Moving Castle.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not as flashy. I said this before. It's not very flashy like other Ghibli films with like their fantasy and supernatural elements.
Yeah,
most of them tend to have. But yeah, very underappreciated film.
Absolutely.
I agree. I just based on your description of it, like I would relate to this series, to this movie a lot too. It reminds me of another very recent anime actually called Look Back, which it's a short. A friend of me wanted me to watch it, and it's very much. I understand the concept of just kind of like not knowing what you want to do with your life, and trying to like really figure out or try to do things that you never really could have done, like when you were younger. Yeah. And truly, I think there's so much to do with children characters that it's like it's just really up to their imaginations and like how wild and free like we are when we're younger, that we have so many opportunities to really do what we want. And I think that's really cute.
Yeah,
absolutely agreed with that, because like I was on it, like I said, and I saw a lot of myself in Taiko when I was younger, and like I didn't really know, like especially when I was like in the 16 to 19 pipeline, I really didn't really know what I wanted, and I was just kind of, you know, struggling to figure it out. And even so, you don't have to have it all figured out in your early 20s, etc. But you know, in my 20s now, I'm like, I've really figured so much about myself, and you know, doing things I wish I did, you know, earlier in my life, and I'm glad that I'm participating and having fun and doing these things I wanted. And like, because I remember, and I was like, I think 18, 19, I was kind of like, do I want to go uni? No, I don't know. And then I went for it in the end, and I'm glad I did. So Taiko, really just like watching that again and seeing her do the things she wanted to do towards the end, like actually going to the countryside, actually, you know, thinking back on her life and wondering what it would have been like or not. It was just really touching, and I think it is, like Robin said, a seriously underappreciated movie, but also really realistic in a good way. Like,
yeah, I think adults will probably get more appreciation from this than like, you know, kids.
Yeah.
I do like about the main character is that she grows up in Tokyo. She grew up in the big city, but she like longs for the countryside.
Yeah,
which is unlike most protagonists, like which is very much the opposite of most protagonists that you see.
And I agree. It's just like I also just love things that just kind of like their meaning kind of changes to you once you grow older and experience more life. Like Quinnie, I saw you, like Cowboy Bebop and this movie are like in your top two, and like they're both kind of series that like kind of change once you grow older and kind of gain a new meaning towards it. And it's like, I think that's something truly magical when it comes to these kind of animes that just kind of like they truly just grow up with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yay. Yeah, I feel like that. Yippee! I feel like that with that as well, because obviously, like I said earlier, with like Cowboy Bebop, I had no idea. Like, I was just like kind of watching it because I heard it was good. So that's the only reason I watched it. And then when I'm older, I really appreciate it, and I can really understand like the meaning behind it all, but also understand like the subtle like plots, but then the bigger ones later on. And then with Only Yesterday, I completely understand now. It's like a whole reflection of life and stuff. So yeah, it's really fascinating how much you understand it when you get older.
Gosh,
talking about.
I'll be the first to admit I've never seen a single anime movie except the Haruhi Suzumiya movie. That'll be the next challenge after the year challenge. I'll watch all the Studio Ghibli movies.
Yes, watch them. They're great.
Maybe we'll even have a movie marathon. Who knows? We'll see.
Yes.
But
no, I was about to say the last thing we gotta do.
Yep, last but not least, Mr. Brosuke.
One.
You're number one, Brosuke. Let's hear it.
time. It's time to talk about the other box.
Talk about school days, everyone. So I'm joking.
Oh my god, no. We kick him out.
Oh no! When do we do our bottom five? When do we do our bottom five list?
When we do a bottom five list.
We're replacing you with Benji now in the pod.
Exactly. Kick you off.
All right, but in all seriousness, anyone that knows me personally or has heard of me knows that I absolutely love the hit manga anime Hajime no Ippo, and it's kind of funny how two of my favorite animes are about boxing. So what makes Hajime no Ippo different from Ashita no Joe is that Ashita no Joe focuses on the dark, grim reality of what boxing can be really is, while Hajime no Ippo, I remember when Jpeg was asking for, like, I want character-driven stories, and literally Hajime no Ippo is right there. Hajime no Ippo is, and listen, I have not seen a lot of animes, I've not read a lot of manga, so I know this kind of can be taken in a, however you want to take it. This is by far the best character-driven, like, anime I have ever watched and read. So this, let me actually look this up. But this is actually a manga currently actually longer going than One Piece. So, current chapter numbers. It is currently $1,400 plus chapters right now. And I think One Piece is at like 1,200, 1,100. I don't remember. Hajime no Ippo is actually created by a owner of a boxing gym coach, and Hajime no Ippo is about this kid Ippo Makanouchi, who is being bullied, and a professional boxer named Takamura saves him, and he sees, wow, I like to be strong. So he's like, you know what? He starts watching boxing. He's like, man, I really want to be strong. What does that feel like? And he goes to him, and Takamura's like, hey, if you can start catching 10 leaves with this, then I'll train you. And then Ippo, with no guidance, no research, because this takes place in like the 50s, 60s, and like in the actual series, is that he's just trying to catch the leaves. And what I really like about Hajime no Ippo is that it's all about motivation and hard work. Because one of the things about sports animes, like 90% of them, the main character is like already really good at the sport they're trying to be, right? Like Prince of Tennis, the guy was already good at tennis. You have Captain Tsubasa, the soccer anime. Tsubasa's already really godlike at the game. You just have a lot of characters who are broken in sports animes. Well, Ippo, the only thing he had was that he had a hard punch. He did not know anything else. And you literally see this kid train and train and train and fucking train. And then only, he works so hard, and you see it. And the motivation you get from this place is not only this Ippo, you see his gym mates Kimura, Aoki, and even Takamura, who was godlike, who was very naturally born good at boxing. You still see that he works hard. And one of the amazing quotes from in Ippo that I still hold to my heart. I have like a couple. I'll read the top three. Is one of them is from the coach of the gym. He tells Takamura, not everyone who works hard is rewarded, but all those who succeed have worked hard. So even if you don't succeed, those who succeed to work hard. I like that one. One of them is from Kimura. There are natural born differences between people, and hard work can only compensate so much. So the people who don't have the talent, right, they actually make up with a lot more than what we lack, right? But one more about Ippo is that there was one from Aoki saying, I'll show you the power of a human that never gives up. And Hajime no Ippo is self-motivation, character-driven. All these characters have so much going for them. Like in the first arc, you see Ippo's opponents, but there's actual backstories. Every single boxer has a reason. Like Ippo is boxing because he wants to be stronger. Miyata, his rival, he's boxing because he wants to prove his dad's style of boxing worked. You have someone who's boxing because he's literally getting money to feed his dying mom. You fucking have someone boxing because he wants to show his girlfriend that he'll be the best man, right?
That's good.
Hajime no Ippo, I think if you really, really want a character-driven story, I think, and your guys are struggling with Rex, please. I know I meme on it. I know it's a meme for like me to keep recommending people Hajime no Ippo, but it's a very serious thing. Hajime no Ippo is probably the reason why I'm so motivated to like really do things in real life. I don't really talk about that kind of stuff, but like, you know, I get up every morning around 7, 8, and it's just that you have so many things. And the last quote I wanted to go over in Ippo is, if you believe in reincarnation, you might hold back. If you think you get another chance, you can slack off. I'll reflect on what I've done, but I'll never want to regret anything. You only live once, and I'll live to the fullest. So when I lay down to rest inside my coffin, I want my fist clenched for pride, certain that I lived the best life that I could. And that's from Ippo. It's not just about the boxing, right? The boxing animation is so good. But you have all these characters who have personal issues. You go through their... Like, there's a scene where Ippo literally almost has to quit boxing because his mother health... She was been overworking so much, and you see Ippo struggling with the fact that he might have to retire because he has to take care of his mom. But then his best friend shows up, like, you know what, I got you. And then Ippo spars with Takamura, gets his ass kicked, but he wakes up and he starts bawling, crying because it's like, oh my god. You know, Ippo, please watch Ippo. It is by far the best character-driven story I have ever seen. All the opponents have backstories. All the main characters have good stories. They all just bounce off each other very well. There's funny moments. There's emotional moments. It's realistic. Like I said, the creator was made by a boxing coach, so he knows like Dempsey roll. He knows the jolt counter. He knows cross counter. He knows bloody cross. He knows all these boxing techniques, and you can actually apply them in real life because he's a boxing coach. He is a second, and he even has a real life statue of one of the characters on top of his gym. I really love Ippo, and if you love shonen, if you love character-driven stories, if you just love characters, then Ippo is probably the one you're missing from your anime list. And the problem with anime, only one problem, it only covers to chapter 573. So.
I think that's quite a bit. I'm not gonna be honest.
But anyway, my last thought on Ippo is that it's kind of like a serious thing, I guess, is that you have control. Ippo taught me that you have control over your own destiny. You have control over your own fate. And while I think like making excuses unhealthy, right? But there's also a healthy thing about excuses, because if you don't make excuses, then eventually you're gonna like, oh, okay, well, I'm satisfied with this. You need a certainty in your life to make you keep pushing further. And that's what Ippo is all about. It's all about the self-motivation. It's about becoming your best who you are. And it doesn't always relate to boxing. Like, there's literally, right now, one of the major characters, I won't say who, obviously, but one of the major characters is in the anime. He is currently retired. That arc has been the main arc for the past year. And it's not even about boxing. It's about him becoming his best. And it's kind of insane. But please watch Ippo. If you guys have any thoughts, then we can move on to the Secret Santa.
Heck yeah. But yeah, no, what I like about the show is that I watched it, and even the few episodes I've seen, I'm like, yeah, this is definitely a Brosuke show. This is like a lot of the stuff that I know you like, and I'm like, yeah, this is good.
Yeah, no, you kind of said basically everything.
I can keep going, but I'm not going to.
Just like, that's why we had. I think a lot of us had to stop.
I think what's interesting for me with Ippo is that it's like a traditional narrative, but unlike shows like, let's say, Naruto or Pokemon, it's very like real world context, right? It's a boxer, like this could be anyone, right? Mm-hmm. As opposed to like more fantastical fantasy worlds, right? So top fives.
We did it. We did it. All of our top five honorable mentions.
Woo! So
after like 2 hours and a jump.
Yeah. Before we end this podcast, we're going to do a little Secret Santa event. I've put all our names here in a little random order. We are all going to recommend the person next in line a show that they should check out, at least 3 episodes. Now, preferably nothing in your top 5, just to make it unique, right? Because we've already talked about these shows. But if you really have to, then yeah, sure, recommend a top 5, one of your top 5s, right? Give you a moment to prepare. But Gon, you were up first.
Okay, wait. Actually, I was.
Can you DM the list?
Sure.
Here it goes down. So Gon will recommend me. I will recommend Robin. Robin will recommend Quinnie. Quinnie, Brosuke. Brosuke, Gon.
Okay. Then yeah, just give me like.
If anyone else already has something, because like you guys already, all of y'all can see the order. So I'm just trying to think of mine, because I recommended you, JPEG, a lot of stuff. You're like the number one person I recommended stuff to, because you were getting into anime. Technically, I think you would. I think you could watch Look Back. It's an anime movie, but it's like 57 minutes long, so that's practically like 3 anime episodes.
Ooh, okay. Look Back.
Yeah, because I know you haven't seen that many like anime movies, so I think you'd actually like this one.
I've not seen any anime movies with one exception.
Exactly. I think you would like Look Back. It's just like it's basically just kind of like it's more younger characters, but two like kind of kids that become best friends because one of them is a mangaka, and the other like wants to become a mangaka, and another one who really likes writing. You see how their friendship develops and how like it really does focus on just their friendship and how much of like their bond grows, truly. And I think it's just really good. It's underrated for sure.
Yeah, that sounds interesting, especially because it's so short. I'm curious to see how like they'll do a movie in only 57 minutes. But it's interesting. Oh, it only came out last year as well, so it's very modern.
Yeah, it's really modern.
Oh, I'm excited. Should be easy watch. Oops, let's drop my thing. Okay, I'm next. I will recommend something to Robin. Here's what I'm thinking, Robin. I mentioned the show in the honorable mentions, but I would recommend a show called Psychopaths. It's a sci-fi show where the main character, she is it's not really a cop, but like I would say like, yeah, it's like a sci-fi future cop where the system is extremely corrupt and she wants to hold justice, but obviously the system is incredibly messed up and she's very like stoic about it, but she tries to make her most in a really bad world, I guess. Because this is a world where the government basically will arrest you even if you're like a little sus, right? Like no court, no trial, no. Even if you're a little sus, you're getting arrested. You know, they can like read your mind and stuff like that. So I think that'd be good. I think the main character is one of the best female protagonists ever, honestly. So she's very nuanced and stoic.
Mm-hmm.
It's my recommendation, Psychopaths.
Okay, I'm looking forward to watching it. I don't know what. Okay, Quinnie. I know you're a big fan of horror. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of horror recs because I don't watch a lot of.
No,
horror
it's
games.
okay. Honestly, recommend me anything. I'll happily watch it.
Okay, so you haven't seen Apothecary Diaries, right?
No, I have not. I have not seen it.
Okay, it was also in my honorable mentions, but that is what I'm going to be recommending to you, Apothecary Diaries. It takes place it's a historical fiction, takes place in China. Brosuke, shut the But yeah, sorry, he's being mean in chat. But yes, I highly recommend Apothecary Diaries. It's so good. The main character is like such a breath of fresh air. I love Mao Mao. I love Jinchi. I heard like one way to describe it, is like House MD, but it like takes place in like it's like historical House MD.
Oh, I love that kind of vibe. That sounds really cool.
Yeah, it's great. Main character is also very unhinged. I love her. She's such a little gremlin. I think you'll really like it.
Hell yeah, thank you. I look forward to watching it.
Quinnie, you're up next then with your recommendation.
Okay, so my recommendation for you, Brosuke. I'm not actually sure if you've seen either of these, but I'm gonna recommend you Bleach. So Bleach is basically about a guy named Ichigo who's basically becoming a soul reaper, and he dedicates his life to helping the innocent and tortured spirits. So it's really good. I don't know if you've seen it. But...
I've heard of Bleach. I haven't seen it. Well, I'm down to watch it. Fuck it.
Woohoo!
She's a good friend of ours.
Oh shit!
Oh my god!
Shout out to Bleach. I love you. I'm your biggest fan.
We love you, Bleach.
We love you, Bleach.
We should love you, Bleach. Oh my god!
All right.
Hey,
I'm next.
Oh wait! Oh, I'm getting recognition.
All right, Hajime no. Okay, anyway.
No, do your top 5.
All right. Well, luckily, Hajime no Ippo, Kimura for some shit. I'm joking anyway.
Oh my god, that's in your top 5.
Let's go ahead. I think you'd like this a lot. I recommend Casher's Sins. Very obscure.
Okay. What's it? Yeah, what's it about?
It's about a guy who it's post-apocalyptic world. You're following this guy that's watching the world just derail because of a certain someone's actions. I'm not gonna spoil anything, obviously, but the first half is very episodic and it's really good. I think you should watch Catcher and Sins.
Okay. I looked up the design of him. Okay, I'm vibing with the design of the MC. Oh shit. Okay, I like the outfit. Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm excited to watch.
Okay, is anyone else want to say anything before we go?
No, I think that's it. Thank you all so much for watching. I don't know what we're going to do next episode, but I'm sure it'll be fun. We'll do a little book report at the start where we talk about the at least 3 episodes of the shows we were recommended. This is going to be an interesting thing because we are willing to collaborate with any of you viewers. If any of you guys are experts in anything, then yeah, we'd like to have you on as guests. I'm sure we'll have some of our friends as well join us for future episodes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what this podcast is going to be.
I mean, we're quite the anime community, I'm going to be
Watch
honest.
Hajime no Ippo.
Okay, bro, watch One Piece. More like it.
Everyone, please join. Please join the server. I need to talk about the manga with someone because Gon's not caught up.
You should talk. Yeah, I'll give you the guy's name after.
I'm trying to catch up. Okay, jeez, I'm just calling.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do next time, but it'll be fun.
Thank you guys so much for watching. See you next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Thanks for watching Chibi Chitchat.
Thank you for watching.